so you know nothing about Everyman Hybrid.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't mentioned it in passing to you before, because I do like to talk a lot. But Everyman Hybrid is a YouTube series from the 2010s about Slender Man. I'm going to spend the next however long this YouTube video is talking to you and to you about Everyman Hybrid. You can ask me questions.
I'm probably going to.
If you want, it does get very confusing. There will be images and stuff on the screen that you guys can see. You won't be able to see. We will put those in post on iMovie. But yeah, I have my notes for this are the Everyman Hybrid Bible that I wrote, completely annotated by myself. It is 137 pages.
I'm Vinny Everyman, and this is Everyman Hybrid.
It's an introduction to our three main characters, Vinny, Evan, and Jeff, who are all best friends, and they're in college together. And they're starting a fitness YouTube channel. And you may be thinking, isn't this about Slenderman? We'll get to that. But first it's about fitness. So you learn a little bit about each person. Vinny is the star of the channel. It's his channel. His name is Vinny Everyman. That's not his actual last name. That's just what he calls himself. Then there's Jeff, the cameraman and the editor, who also use iMovie.
No relation to Jeff the Killer.
No relation to Jeff the Killer. This is a different creepypasta. And then Evan, who is their nutrition correspondent.
Today, we are going to show you the importance of jogging and stretching.
So this video, it's Vinny talking about how to stretch before you take a jog. The video is very choppy. There's no scenes of him actually running. It's daytime, then it's nighttime when he's done jogging. There's a weird static cuts in the middle of the video that are also obviously out of place. Cuts to Evan trying to explain how to do yoga and how to stretch before doing yoga. And the video ends with 5 seconds or so of just a black screen.
Well, here we are in the cookies, and cookies aisle.
This video is about healthy eating. Evan is in the grocery store pointing out all the stuff that's unhealthy for you. Then they have their little intro that usually is just oh, look at all the members of this channel. Now it's a lamppost in the woods surrounded by trees. Vinny explains that this video is going to be about how eating food affects your dreams. They say that if you eat bad foods, it can give you dreams about stress. Vinny talks about a time where he remembers having a dream where he was running down the halls of his old elementary school, being a product of stress about being in the middle of midterms in college. Not like we could relate to that or anything.
Definitely not.
We should be studying for that right now. I don't know why we're
Yeah.
doing this. And then it cuts to Evan trying to be like, hey, Evan, what are you going to talk about your dream? He's zoned out, and then they try to, it was like, Evan, what? And then the video ends.
This is car pushing!
Cardio and outdoor activities. Evan is still completely out of it. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. He's not talking. They're playing pranks on him, they fireman carry him. They just scoop him up at one point. At one point, they're standing in front of a telephone pole, and there's someone who's very obviously dressed as Slenderman standing behind the telephone pole. They cut to the basement of Vinny's house, talking about how to use ellipticals and treadmills. Then Slenderman is very visibly in the glass door behind him. It cuts to them outside doing the activity famously known as car pushing, where you push a car. They cut the video to be like, hey, Evan, what happened today that was so weird? Evan says that a little girl came up to him in the park and she handed me this doll and the man told her to give it. Very, very fake. And then they just laugh it off.
Hola, hybrids. What's going on?
Episode 5, they're talking about how you don't need fancy equipment to have a good workout routine. They're at Evan's house now, and they're in the basement showing how to use different weights. Slenderman is in the background in one of the windows, hunkered over looking through, the egress window in the basement. Then Evan says that he likes to listen to Motorhead when he works out because you need to listen to music. And then he presses play on the CD player, and they start playing, the Spirit Halloween background music. When you walk, when you walk into Spirit Halloween, they're playing the spooky music when you go through, the animatronic section. That's exactly what plays on the CD player, and he shuts it off like nothing happens.
Oh no, that's it. Right here.
Things start to get interesting. Now we get into the Morse code videos. This is the first of 5. This video is ... which means S in Morse code. They will explain this later, but they don't know who posted it. The people, this whole thing's supposed to be immersive, so the Everyman Hybrid people on Twitter are I don't know what video you're talking about that's in Morse code. We don't know what you're talking about. No one posted it.
To their account.
Posted to their account. So in this video, there's, in the background, the song Who Could Win a Rabbit by Animal Collective, which will come a lot later. But in the video, we can see that Evan, Vinny, and Jeff are a bit scared by something because someone broke into Evan's house. They think that Slenderman broke into Evan's house, or at least the guy that they think is pretending to be Slenderman, a friend of theirs named Nick, because they use him as the guy that's in the background that plays Slenderman. This confirms that the whole Slenderman thing for their fitness channel is just a prank. Vinny says that at least they can get good footage out of this whole ordeal, but there's still one question on everyone's mind. Where did he go? Because he broke into Evan's house on the 2nd floor, but when they ran up to get him, he wasn't there. No windows were broken, no doors were unlocked, so how did he get out of the 2nd floor? They think this is just a prank gone too far, and their friend hasn't owned up to it. Evan is also, as this is happening, angrily sharpening knives in the kitchen. He says that if Nick ever does this again, he's going to cut off his legs and shove them down his throat. But the footage is really good, so they'll just use it anyways. They end the clip with, presumably, what they caught on camera of Slenderman standing in the doorway in Evan's 2nd-story hallway, closing the door with his mind before he disappears.
Beans, also called chickpeas if you can't find them in your local store.
This time, Evan and Jeff are the ones doing the video, not Vinny, because Vinny isn't there. It's about getting healthy foods for you to eat. The intro plays again, but this time, instead of the subtitles, which usually say your go-to guide for health on a budget or something like that, it says something's going on. Evan and Jeff are in the supermarket again, getting ingredients to make a Southwest chicken salad. In between the clips of them in the supermarket and driving home, there's like a black screen with screeching audio played over it. Vinny is now in the car with them. Evan is driving in front of Vinny and Jeff's car. The two of them notice that there's someone in the back of Evan's car. As they talk, the audio is all distorted. They assume that it's probably just one of their friends trying to scare them, just like the person who broke into Evan's house with the Slenderman stuff. And then they see Slenderman standing in Evan's, 2nd-story window. So they run up, and they go into that room where he was, and they see their friend Daniel. And they say, "Why are you here?" He's like, "I'm ready to film the Slenderman stuff." They said, "Where is your suit?" "In the car." He wasn't dressed like Slenderman. He didn't have any of the stuff with him. Also, then it shows the footage of, Slenderman standing at the other end of the hall and then closing the door. But this video was filmed after the Morse code video that I just talked about. So how did they get that footage from the future and put it into the past? Because it's the exact same footage. Also, then they go into the room where they see Slenderman close the door into, and there's no one in there.
We are doing the health food thing, obviously, but also we had a little bit of our sick, morbid humor.
Everyman Hybrid guys admit that their videos were fake. It was a prank that they were doing. However, the Slenderman that they see in the last video in episode 6, that was not them. They didn't do that, and they have no idea who it was, and they're making a proposal. Whoever is the person who is pranking them, just come out and say it, say they're sorry, and don't let it happen again, and all will be forgiven. But if they keep doing this, and they catch them, then there will be dire consequences.
I'm just gonna take a walk through the woods, basically.
This is when we meet a lot of new characters, and it's going to be really confusing because here are their names. We already have Vinny, Jeff, and Evan. Those are our main 3. We also have Alex, Jeff's brother. We have Jessalyn, Jeff's girlfriend. And we have a friend of the group, Ryan. They all go to have a hike at a place called Baldpate Mountain. Basically, it's just like a nature hike with all of them. They're having a good time. They're laughing and stuff. It's just a big group of friends hanging out. Except Evan is still acting really strangely. He's wandering off. He's staring into the distance. He's not really listening to what people are saying. And at the end of the video, he wants them to go home.
It won't take more than an hour.
Yeah, I know, bro, but I think I just kind of want to go home. And cut.
The preview of the next 2 videos that are going to go on the channel. There's going to be 2 sleep experiments about health that are going to be going on. One is Vinny and Jeff, who are going to see what happens to them after they spend 2 days of not sleeping. And then one is going to be of Evan, who's going to record how long he sleeps for, what dreams he has, and what food he had before to see if what type of food you eat affects the dreams that you have.
Say that sleep is a very important part of your daily plan.
So the first one, Vinny and Jeff's video, is basically a really big time lapse until the end. It cuts to a short clip of Vinny finding a weird display of printed photos hanging in one of the rooms in his basement. They were all stills from their day in the life video from a couple days earlier. They were hung on strings with words written over the faces of the guys in the video, and some of the photos had holes burned into them. They're held from the ceiling with purple duct tape. Vinny asks if Alex, Jeff's brother, could have done this as a way to mess with Evan. They agreed not to tell Evan since he is, quote, just getting back to normal, and leave the room. Evan is now awake and the other guys are going to go and mess with him, but they find him on a computer looking at a Tumblr blog called Can You See the Words? Now, Can You See the Words is what was written on the photos that they just found in the weird room in the basement. So Evan is on this blog. He's really annoyed, but then he starts like hanging out with Jeff and Vinny, and then they get really tired and hungry, and that's what they conclude, that if you don't sleep, you get tired, you get hungry.
That's shocking.
If you eat chocolate right before going to bed, it will give you bad dreams.
So Evan's experiment is that he's going to record what food he has before he goes to bed, and then what dreams he has, to see if there's a correlation between eating good foods and good dreams, bad foods and bad dreams. He explains what he's going to do in the experiment. In the first night, he wakes up at 6:30ish. He says he has a dream about him being in a nice field with his grandmother who had died, and the two of them have a picnic. The next night, he goes to bed at a later time and wakes up at 8 a.m. the next day, and he can't remember what he had a dream about. And the next day, he wakes up at 8 again, says he had a dream about roller coasters, which he enjoyed. And the next night, he wakes up at around 3:30 in the morning because he hears Vinny and Jeff doing their experiment, which was happening at the same time, but also because he wants to tell us about the nightmare that he just had. He says that in the dream he was in town that looked like it was full of children. As he looked around, they all kept disappearing until there was none left, and all he heard was their screams. When he turns around again, he was in the woods, and the screaming gets louder and louder, like they were coming from the trees. He then sees trash bags hanging from the trees, and he decides to wake up at that point. He concludes that if you eat good food, you'll have good dreams if you go to sleep at a normal time. If you eat bad foods and you go to sleep at a bad time, then you have bad dreams. I may have mentioned this earlier, but I forgot because I don't remember what any of the things I said was, but this series does not take place entirely on YouTube, which confused me the first time when I saw it because they would start mentioning things that I had no idea what was going on because I only watched the videos. But this series takes place over YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter, Ustream, and real-life geocaching as well. So this is the first time in the series, besides using their Twitter, which was like not really that important up until now, that we go off of YouTube and we go onto Tumblr to the Can You See the Words post. I love that I can't. Let me go.
Can you see the words?
I can't see the words. Hold up. We're cutting that out. Can You See the Words is a Tumblr blog. The same Tumblr blog that Evan was just looking at in the Sleep Lab Part 1 video. This blog poster was using Tumblr to share their traumatic experience in vague posts to their followers. We learned that they lost their entire family to a house fire, is dealing with a lot of trauma from it, which caused them to move to Princeton, New Jersey, which is right out, like, near where the EverymanHYBRID guys live and film their videos. Also been battling some sort of personal demon, mentioning floods and water in a lot of the posts. She has to cross out a lot of words when writing them, which relate to things like floods and water. When someone asks on the blog what flood she's referring to, she says not all floods have water. She starts getting a large following of people who want her attention. She posts a passage from the book House of Leaves, as well as other ominous posts that seem to refer to Slender Man, such as, "He'll never find me here, but I just can't risk it." People immediately start asking about EverymanHYBRID after finding the connection between the video and this Tumblr blog, but she doesn't really seem to know who they are. Someone mentions someone named Linny, who we haven't heard of before, but she seems to recognize that name, but nothing else about it. She's also asked if she likes the band Animal Collective, because we hear the song Who Could Win a Rabbit in the Morse code video, and she responds with the lyrics, "Rabbit or habit." Like, they call her damsel, because she seems like a damsel in distress.
I just got my internet set up, so...
She also has a YouTube video channel, also called Can You See the Words, and she posts her first YouTube video. She says what her real name is, which is Steph, but people still call her damsel anyways. In this video, she has just moved to Princeton, New Jersey, and she shows off some of her artwork that she made because she's an art student in college. She doesn't feel secure there, and she gets a question on her Tumblr blog asking her if she knows anyone named Evan, and she says no.
Where's your eyes and pretend it's a bad dream?
Is the second of the Morse code videos, which means O in Morse code, or dash dash dash. In the video, there's a clip of one of the things that we see in the Day of the Life video, which is this tree at the top of the mountain, followed by a harsh conversation between the EverymanHYBRID crew. So Evan is not really paying attention, but he's recording the whole thing. Jeff is very concerned about the Slender Man activity that's going on. He thinks that there's something more to it, that it's not just a prank. He apparently also has a photo shrine in his house now, and he doesn't know where it came from.
And he kept it up?
I guess so. And Vinny says they have to keep going, and he continues to blame it on Jeff's brother, Alex, saying that he's the one just doing a prank on them. More clips from A Day in the Life play throughout the video, and then we see a clip that we didn't see from that video of Evan and Jeff kicking down a door in one of the houses at the top of the mountain. Back in the house, Vinny thinks that if they try to stop what's going on and shut down their channel, then whoever is doing this prank is gonna win. And Jeff thinks it's not worth it. Vinny tells Evan to shut the camera off, but he doesn't listen and keeps recording. And Vinny says that he feels like they have to finish these videos, that there's no other option. They have to keep making their Slenderman prank. Just a few more videos. And if it keeps happening, Vinny says he promises they'll stop. Evan thinks that it's possible that this Slenderman is real, but they don't listen to him.
So, Princeton, yeah.
Can you see the words second untitled video on her YouTube channel? Steph says that she has no friends in Princeton, no one listens to her, so she thinks she's better off alone. She goes and finds the EverymanHYBRID channel on her own after people tell her so much about it, and she says they seem like nice people, but they shouldn't be messing with things that they don't understand. Sounds like she's referring to their Slenderman pranks.
Well, this is officially the worst birthday card I've ever received.
Begins with the EverymanHYBRID guys discussing what they want their next topic for their YouTube video to be. Evan says that meditation is a good idea, or maybe self-defense. They also really want to eat ice pops for some reason, so they go to Vinny's kitchen and find a random letter attached to his front door. He thinks that it could be a birthday card that someone sent late because his birthday was a week ago, but he opens it to find a piece of paper with coordinates on it. The ending of the video is a black and white screen with white text that reads, "Enter the tragic hero and his unattainable companion."
I feel like Evan needs to go to a mental hospital or something. Like, if you have a friend and you think they're breaking into your house as a prank, taking pictures of you guys, crossing out your faces, burning it, and
No, Evan's saying that he thinks it's real. They think it's a prank.
but they think it's a prank. So if I thought it was a prank, I'd be like, fuck you, man. I'm not your friend anymore. What the hell are you doing? And then if I was Evan and they didn't believe me, I'd be like, well, clearly it's something going on with all of us, so I'm gonna leave and hope that it stops.
That would have been such a good idea, but unfortunately no one thought of that, and things get so much worse. Because those coordinates that they found in that note, they lead somewhere to a box in real life. The YouTuber Green Feathers, using the coordinates, they were able to find a real-life geocache of a box that was left for them to find for this series. Inside the box, there's a whole bunch of things. A drawing of an eye that turns into Slenderman with a branch for arms, multiple photos from the A Day in the Life video with the faces burnt out or Sharpie crossed out, and a burnt piece of paper with very faint writing on it that says 1 out of 7, as well as, "Consider this a place of refuge, not from the water, but from damnation." Which,
what the fuck does that mean?
with the Can You See the Words blog, talks a lot about water and biblical things, so maybe it has something to do with that.
I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. I've just been busy with school and whatnot.
Steph posts her third untitled video on Can You See the Words. She hasn't posted in a while, but she's made friends in one of her classes, and she's very busy with school. She just wanted to let us know.
Today, me and Ev, wherever he is.
Like Evan said in their last video, this video is going to be about self-defense. Evan is actually a martial arts instructor, so he knows a lot about this stuff. Vinny starts explaining what the video is going to be about, but then it all glitches out. Evan demonstrates the proper way to punch and how to stand. The next part of the video is about knives. Evan owns a lot of knives. He collects them.
I can't even say that's a red flag, because, like, same.
It's
for
a
him,
concerning amount
for
of knives.
him, it's a red flag.
It's a concerning amount of knives.
me-
While pretending to knife fight, Evan comments that he always forgets that Vinny is left-handed, because Vinny bests him in a fight. The video cuts to the entire crew announcing that they are going to have a contest. Whoever creates the best promotion for EverymanHYBRID at a public place will get a shout out on their channel, and all they have to do is submit a photo or a video of their creation. The winner will get a personalized message from the EverymanHYBRID guys and a special yoga-themed prize as well. Hi. This shows the friend that Damsel mentioned in the video before, and it's Jessa, who is the girlfriend of Jeff that we meet in the A Day in the Life video. It seems like they're having fun, they're hanging out in the parking lot, they're talking, they're laughing, and then in the background, someone who looks a lot like Evan sprints past them.
The other day we tried to, like we told you, film the hiking video.
Vinny talks about a failed hiking video while Evan stares blankly into the camera next to him. He says that they were going to film a hiking video, but something really weird happened, and they didn't think of anything of it until later. Vinny says that the night before they filmed the video, his email was spammed with videos of dead, mangled animals in garbage bags.
Why would you not think anything about that?
They shot a roll of
Also,
clip.
the dream about the bags.
Oh, the dream about the bags is going to come in a lot more during this segment because they show the video that they were going to post. They're talking about hiking gear, you need proper boots, you need to have, your skin's gotta be covered so you don't get ticks, you need to have a knife to cut through branches. As they're wrapping up the video, Slender Man appears behind them on the path and Evan runs straight at him with a knife. They chase after Evan but they can't really find him until they find Evan standing in the middle of a circle with trash bags hanging from the tree. Vinny takes out his small knife and cuts through them. Blood pours out onto the ground. Evan just sits there, laughing maniacally as blood pools around him. The video glitches out again, and it goes back to Vinny and Evan talking. They say that later that day, Jeff called to say that he was going to leave and that he was looking for something. They tried calling his girlfriend Jessa, but she wasn't answering, and then they decided...
She's probably dead.
Evan and Vinny also have their own small cameras that they keep on themselves at all times so they can film everything because things are getting really weird. The video ends with about 10 seconds of the guy saying nothing into the camera while Evan starts to smirk and Vinny looks really upset. Box 2 has been found on August 15th. On the Can You See the Words blog post, someone posted coordinates on there. Those coordinates led to another box. The outside of the box is covered with various words on it, such as boarding pass, you know where, and one and the same. Inside the box, there was porcelain jewelry, picture of a blackbird on one side with the word habit on the other, all caps. There's also an Everyman Hybrid business card in there with their names crossed out and a drawing of Slenderman on the back. There's a piece of paper that says 2 out of 7, and also on the back of that paper, it says, time and space flee every which way, disregarding your beloved logic.
This is our first non-health related video.
Titled Jeff. And if we know anything about television shows, when an episode is named after a character in the episode, that's not good. Yeah. Vinny is talking into his small personal camera, and he says he's going to Jeff's house to talk to his brother Alex about Jeff's disappearance. He opens the door, and we can see someone standing in the kitchen, but we don't know who. But then the video cuts, the door is closed again, and he opens the door, and then Alex opens the door. Alex says that it's the last time that he's heard from Jeff was about 3 days ago, and he's not answering his phone. He also mentions that Jessa, Jeff's girlfriend, had just recently broken up with him, and hasn't been calling or answering in the days leading up to his disappearance. Vinny asks to look around Jeff's room to find any clues as to where he went. The radio in his room is playing as he enters the room, and they find a notebook with purple duct tape all over it, a bunch of stick figures that look like Slender Man, and a person, but Evan hides them somewhere else in the room so they don't show them to Alex. They also find a USB drive on top of a book called House of Leaves, which was mentioned in the Can You See the Words post. Jeff is apparently obsessed with this book. It's open to a certain page that says, why did God create dual universe? So he might say, be not like me. I'm alone, and I might be heard. There's also an Everyman Hybrid business card on the floor, and it says, I'm onto something on the back. They conclude that this is Jeff's way of trying to tell them something, and they decide to look over the USB that they found in there and see what they find.
Dreams are a good guide.
The same day, on the Everyman Hybrid channel, I'm Okay was posted by Jeff from his own camera. He says that he's been having weird, vivid dreams that told him to go to wherever he is right now where he's filming, so he follows them. He's in a burned down and abandoned building. He says that he has a story to tell everyone that he hasn't told them before. That when he was a kid, he was locked in his burning elementary school. They were trying to evacuate, and they completely overlooked him. They eventually found him a couple hours later, but it was like he wasn't even there. Then I wrote in my notes, the world's loudest jump scare noise plays as he continues walking. That's the building he's in, by the way. He's in the elementary school. He's going to keep us updated as he goes out to find something. We have no idea what Jeff's trying to find.
I want to talk to Dr. Cornthal.
.. which means A in Morse code. This starts...
SOA.
Yeah, now it says SOA. The clips go by really, really fast, so I'm going to cut some of these out of this explanation because it just goes back and forth between all of them. But the main ones are someone's drowning underwater. The song Who Could Win a Rabbit by Animal Collective is playing in the background. There's a hand that's reaching out from under a bed and clawing at the floor. Most important though is the apartment building. A woman opens the door, and Jeff is the one behind the camera filming this. Jeff asks the woman if he could talk to a Dr. Cornthal about something happening to him and his friends. The woman says Dr. Cornthal hasn't been practicing in a while, and Jeff asks if he has ever had a patient or talked to someone about someone named Habit. The woman says Dr. Cornthal had died a few years ago. Then you can see another clip from the Day in the Life video, but they're wearing different clothes, but the same event happening. 78 out of 76.av, how you have video files, it would be blank out of blank, AVI, but you can't have 78 out of 76. This is the video that they found on the flash drive in Jeff's room. Vinny writes in the description that this footage looks like it was taken from the A Day in the Life video, but he doesn't remember recording it. Starts with the door kicking down, the clip that's shown in the dash 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 or the O video. And now we can see that what was behind the door is an abandoned building with lots of spiders. There's sounds, waves crashing behind them, and suddenly it's nighttime and they're outside. Now they're at a beach. Jeff is confused and he asks Evan where they are, who doesn't reply. They're standing under a boardwalk, and Evan stands facing the water, frozen, and not saying anything.
Apparently they don't like it when you sucker punch security guards.
Posted on the same day. This is another update video from Jeff. He's apparently been arrested and stayed at a county prison overnight because he punched a security guard at the apartment complex that we saw in the last Morse code video. He says that he was there looking for someone whose name kept showing up on these papers that he got in the mail. He doesn't know who's sending them, they're records from something, and he has a lot of questions for the rest of the guys when he gets back. He plans to go back and talk with them. He just wants answers, and the cops aren't helping. In the description of the video, he mentions that there's a postcard that he got.
Hey hybrids, obviously, I'm back.
The EverymanHYBRID crew is now reunited. Jeff says that the papers that he found and were sent in the mail were old medical papers that he wasn't supposed to have, and he found also some more of them in the school. They also all go back as a group to that school. Then he says he doesn't want to jump to any conclusions, but then Evan gets really mad at him and says, jumps to conclusion, you still think this is some sort of prank? We all know, and the video cuts out. They're in the school. Jeffrey tells a story that he told us about when he was a kid and got trapped in the elementary school when it was burning down. Evan finds a note attached to one of the walls. Jeff reads it aloud. It says, "Who are you, my dear friend, who each," smeared out, "I look forward to our reunion in hell. Otherwise, heed the warning of," scratched out, "of death inside its black eyes. Those markings, this plate is not human, and now it's claimed another one of us. I'm sorry I was too late, Lenny. I'm so very sorry."
That's the name with the girl.
That is the name with the girl. They mentioned in the Can You See the Words blog posts. Vinny asks if they can just trash the letter. The guys continue on their walk, but they find Slenderman at the end of another dark hallway. The video cuts to Evan back at his own house. He records this video by himself because he has some thoughts that he'd like to share for the investigation. He thinks that it's crazy that they're all just sitting and waiting and not seeing what's clearly happening in front of them. This is not someone who's just messing with them, and something much bigger is going on, and something much worse that the other two can't see.
Hello, YouTubers. This is my first video.
Now we switch over to Alex. He starts his own YouTube channel. He says that he's going to be an outside third party on this whole situation with his brother. He thinks that Jeff is crazy for making what he calls his mini movies. He says that Jeff thinks that one of his movies is actually coming to life. He doesn't care, but for some reason his parents have grounded him, and all his friends think he's gone insane. He isn't allowed to go out anymore because his parents think that he's going to disappear just like Jessa did. The only reason that Alex doesn't think he's insane is because he knows that Jeff's friends, Vinny and Evan, are experiencing the exact same thing. And he doesn't know what to do, and he just needs to make these videos to be an unbiased, it's his brother, third party to all that's happening.
Not much going on today. I had off from school.
Alex posts another video, seems to have a conversation with Jeff, and Jessa gets brought up. Alex tells him that he needs to get over it because his girlfriend broke up with him. Like, get over it. Jeff asks what he means because they didn't break up. Alex says that she just left, nothing bad really happened. He tells Jeff that he hears something in their backyard, and the two of them run out there, and it's the fake Slenderman doll that Alex made to scare Jeff. Alex thinks it's funny, Jeff does not think it's funny.
Now we're making a documentary of hunting the Slender Man.
The crew is driving to a town called Lambertville with their friend Jesse. So now we have Jeff, Jessa, and Jesse. I hope you can keep all that. Keep track of that. Jeff mentioned in his video, they posted this on Twitter, but Jeff got a postcard. On the postcard, it says, "Greeting from the land of ash and waste," with a picture of a highway on it. They've decided that the only land of ash and waste that they can think of is this building that burned down a couple miles away from their house in Lambertville. They still don't really know what's going on. Jessa is still missing, and they're still trying to find her. Jesse doesn't know what's going on, so Evan gives her like the cliff notes of what happened. Evan says that now their channel is about hunting Slender Man. He gets really excited about it, but Jeff says no, we're finding Jessa. They talk about the Morse code videos, saying that they can't see any of them, they don't know what we're talking about, and to stop pranking them. Jeff also mentions Jessa's friend, who seems to be very mysterious, which is the Can't See the Words girl. Evan says he thinks she's pretty cool. Jeff thinks that she's psychotic and wants to contact her and ask her about Jessa because he thinks that she has something to do with it. Evan mentions that the documents that Jeff found were all addressed for a man named Dr. James Kornthal. Jessie seems to recognize that name. She says that she has an uncle named Dr. James Kornthal, who died recently. They ask if you've ever been to a children's home in Ohio, because that's where those documents came from, and she says she doesn't know. The crew arrives at a random burned down house in the woods. Jeff is certain that this place is where they need to be, and it's the place from the postcard. They walk around this abandoned building, not really finding anything, until they walk to like the back of it, and they see a dead woman lying in the woods.
They pull a Jake Paul, Logan Paul.
They pull a Logan Paul and start filming it. She has scratch marks all over her arms, like she's been attacked by something, and in her hands is a note. Vinny forces Jeff to go check on her, because he's like, no, she's probably just sleeping.
She's just sleeping.
She's just sleeping with
building in the middle of the woods.
a strange creature that we haven't seen before is in the woods behind them, crawling on all fours, which will be explained later. Video switches to Evan, who is in the car with Jesse because they just decided to stay behind. He hears Vinny and Jeff running up to them, and they're like, start the car. Alex is talking about his dog, Sparky, clawing at the base of his closet door. There's an unknown voice coming from a closet, repeating, your brother, over and over and over again.
Burn down your house.
Alex just keeps saying, what? At the door.
Why are they so chill? He's like, bro, what is
He's
that?
so chill about that. He's like,
There's like a guy in my
"There's a guy
house,
in
I
my
guess.
house."
People believe that like animals can sense like otherworldly things that you can't. So like they see ghosts or they see spirits. So people always say like if your dog is like barking at the wall, there's a fucking ghost over there and you should leave. Also, if he can hear it.
After a bit, Alex gets up and walks over to the closet, looking around through the clothes, but nothing is there. It is a photo collage video to the tune of I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie, and it's just him being like, Jessa, I miss you, please talk to me.
So
That's
do an
basically,
interpretive dance.
yeah. There's also a weird picture that pops up for a second of Slenderman with the writing guilty over it, and in the description of the video, Jeff writes that if Jessa is still alive, please come and talk to him. Now we move over to Twitter, because over the course of this whole time, there has been a Twitter feud between the Everyman Hybrid official channel Twitter and the Can You See the Words official Twitter, because now she's Twitter.
The girls are beefing.
The girls are beefing.
The girls are fighting.
So, and it's in very 2010 fashion. Here's a snippet of it. At Everyman Hybrid writes, hashtag lies you shouldn't fall for. The artists from prison are anything to be trusted. Enough said. J for Jeff. Can You See the Words replies, I'm on your side. Get it through your head. Hashtag lies you shouldn't fall for. Your best friend's boyfriend is rational. Everyman Hybrid writes, hashtag lies you shouldn't fall for. That there ever was a fire, I'm sure. Referencing the fact that on Damsel's Can You See the Words blog, she talks about the fact that she had a house fire, saying that she's lying about the house fire because she's crazy. Can You See the Words replies, I'm through with you, beloved EMH. See you later, hybrids. Yeah, let me force that nickname for my viewers. Real cute. The nerve of some people. Everyman Hybrid replies, I know, right? I thought the nickname was adorable. Here you go. Take your mind off things. So it's really strange. Twitter's a really awful place.
Hey guys, Wicked Sticky here.
The next video is from Alex's channel. He's going to be setting up some cameras in his room to record his dog Sparky, since during the night the barking and scratching has gotten worse, and she continues to attack the closet.
Alright, documentary, get a load of this.
Evan says that Jeff is jumping to conclusions and has blamed an innocent person, Steph, for Jess's disappearance. Now, Jeff has gone full-blown into it's her fault, she's the last person to see her. He thinks it's very clear that Steph has done nothing wrong, and that she's just trying to survive in this crazy world with all these crazy messed up things happening to her. He says that Jeff went to the police and got them to arrest her, told them that she did everything that happened, the pranks, Jess's disappearance, everything. So now, Steph's been arrested.
But how would they know that?
You can arrest people on suspicion, so she's like their main suspect right now, and they've arrested her. Evan's like, now she's brought into this, and he's surprised that no one can see what's really going on. He knows this whole thing is not some guy in a suit harassing them, and that he's going to do something about it. In the description of the video, he writes, Can You See the Words is innocent. Jeff is too frustrated to figure it out.
Not related to Jay of the other series.
The other series, the other one.
Surprisingly, the Everyman Hybrid guys have kept their promise about that promotion thing that I mentioned a while back. They're congratulating the account Magus J on winning their contest, and then they go, not like Jay from that other series. If you know, there's, at the exact same time, the original Slenderman YouTube series Marble Hornets was going on, and their main character's name was Jay. Unfortunately, the prize that they were going to give to Magus is going to be delayed. But before Evan could explain why, the video cuts to a clip of Slenderman waiting outside of a house during nighttime. Then they're sitting around a pond, and Jeff mentions, he's like, oh yeah, me and Jessa used to come here all the time before she died. And the guys are like, no, she's not dead. Jeff, stop talking like that. Like, we're gonna find her. Jeff says, Jessa, as if he sees her and starts running towards something, and they run after him, and then the video just cuts out.
I'm gonna kill you.
And he explains the note that they found on the dead body in the woods. Showing it to the cops as evidence that they did find someone in the woods, but they didn't believe them. As in, cops checked no body. There was no body when they went to the woods to check. The name on the note is smeared with blood. The note says, I'm heading east. You wouldn't believe it. Someone else knows about the doctor. Bless his soul, it will be such a relief to know that what happened to him after all those years. Spending tomorrow night in the Logan Inn. Tomorrow, I'm heading into New Jersey to find and contact this group. They show a lot of promise. I'll find the others, and they finally help us. Stay safe. We'll make it out. Lenny. On the note, there are more coordinates, which will come up later. Ask for fans help with a postcard lead. Some of them have referred to another news article of a town that was referred to as Ashenways, because now they've decided that the Lambertville thing, they were wrong. Despite finding a dead body, there was a note that was for them. So they go to this place, which is in Brooklyn, New York. It's an abandoned warehouse. Jeff doesn't think anything's there. They find the entrance to the building, and Evan finds a baseball bat, which probably is covered in tetanus. It's an industrial plant, and they don't find anything. As soon as they leave, Evan sees something, runs after it, threatening to kill it. We can't really see what's going on. Then we see Evan is running down the street with the baseball bat, chasing Slenderman and flipping him off. Cuts to black, Evan is lying on the ground. He gets up coughing, swings to the baseball bat before falling over again, and starts coughing up blood everywhere. Evan asks, did I kill him? Did I get him? No.
He probably got himself.
And they're like, we need to take you to a hospital. They keep driving until it's nighttime. Evan is still coughing up blood in the backseat, and he goes, I think I'm gonna be okay. In the middle of the road, at one point, Slenderman just appears, and Jeff says they know what they have to do, and they drive straight into him at full speed. Then, as soon as the collision would happen, they are immediately in Evan's basement. No time has passed between these two clips, and they're all okay, just lying on the floor. Jeff walks in from a different room, very confused. Back over on Twitter on October 25th, 2010, there's a series of unsigned tweets. Now, the Everyman Hybrid guys would always sign their tweets with either a V, a J, or an E, depending on who had written them, but then a series of unsigned tweets was posted, the most notable and only important one being the word habit over and over. Just habit, 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 and then habit has bit me, habit, habit has bit me, habit has you.
Longest recorded sentence was, give orange, me give eat orange, me eat orange, give me eat orange, give me you.
The box 3 videos was split into like 5 different videos by this channel called Flying Warhorse, but I'll just go over them all together. The coordinates that were at the bottom of the note that they found from the dead girl, Lenny, led to a geocache. It was in the same forest that they found the dead body in. Another box covered in purple duct tape. There's a piece of paper with the words written in a code language on it. The code translates to, the good doctor is not so lucky as to be dead, just dealing with some old habits. The box was actually a fake book taped shut with more purple duct tape. Inside was an Everyman Hybrid business card. There's also a piece of paper that reads, there's no veiling your perception as everything is more than an illusion, with 3/7 on it. This is the third box. There's more burnt pictures inside from a day to life, and it's of Jessa specifically. Inside the box, there's also a medical document, the same ones that Jeff kept receiving in the mail, but some of the information is crossed out. These medical documents are referred to as the Korenthal letters, or the Korenthal reports, and was posted in full on the internet. This letter was dated to November 17th, 1971, and it is the medical record of a child named Evan. However, this child named Evan only seems to respond to the name Habit. He does not explain where this name is from. Dr. James Korenthal commends another doctor, Dr. Roberts, for making him keep a Polaroid picture diary, because a written journal is impossible due to Evan not being able to be around pointed, sharp objects. This is a huge improvement in his demeanor, as in the first week of his treatment at this hospital, he stabbed a nurse repeatedly with a fork so deep that he was covered in gore and found laughing over her body, and it was noted that it was the deepest they've ever seen a plastic fork go into someone. After a few months, the staff suggested that he was released on medical probation, but Dr. Korenthal is asking to please reconsider this, as he did murder someone. The nurse died. He fears a relapse into homicidal tendencies if Evan is released. He also notes the time that Evan killed a warren of rabbits to recreate the crucifixion of Jesus in the community garden. Says that this has also taken a toll on him as well, as he wakes up in the middle of the night hearing the words rabbit or habit over and over as he sleeps.
Wait, there was a poem that my mom made us memorize as children, and it was a man who had a habit of eating rabbits. Something
Your
like
mom
that.
is strange. Immediately after this, more unsigned tweets on the 27th of October. Sound like they're a possible conversation with another person who's like always replying to all of the Everyman Hybrid tweets, like a fan. They said, at Everyman Hybrid, you should probably go visit her. I'm sure she'd appreciate a sandwich too. The Fat Ladies, which is the name of a restaurant, is her favorite. Hashtag save the damsel, talking about Steph, who is currently in jail. The Everyman Hybrid account responds, your front door's unlocked. How courteous.
What the fuck?
The original account responds, at Everyman Hybrid, who are you and why are you stalking them? Everyman Hybrid responds, you still believe this is merely their story. You assume a grand refuge? No such sanctuary exists. Then the other account replies, at Everyman Hybrid, I assume nothing, you son of a bitch. I just want to know who you think you are. Notably, all of these unsigned tweets are written in all caps.
And there were shreds of paper everywhere, and then a trail leading to my closet.
Alex puts his 5th video on his channel. He found a trail of shredded paper that started in Jeff's room that led into his closet. He also finds a business card in his closet with coordinates on it, as well as the words continue written on it. Jeff and Sparky are with him, and he says that the shredded papers are really important to him, and Jeff's really upset because now they're gone. Then another unsigned tweet from Everyman Hybrid on October 30th, which says, you couldn't save her. Do you think that they are any different? You are on the same sinking vessel. On the same day, in the bag, this was using the coordinates that was found on the business cards on the plane. Business card. Inside the bag, there's a bottle of Blue Powerade. There's also an envelope addressed to Lenny with a bloody handprint on it. There's also an envelope with the writing, find them, Everyman Hybrid. My posture is terrible. I just looked at the camera and saw
I know,
that.
I keep like...
There's 2 notes inside. One says, Lenny, I hope this letter reaches you before you reach that group. Someone sent me this worries me. Please contact me before you talk to them. This letter is attached, signed William. The second letter is another Cornthal report. This Cornthal report is dated to May 11th, 1971. It says the name of where these notes are coming from, which is the Fairmount Children's Home in Ohio. These are the medical records of a child named Vincent, or Vinny. He mentions that there's conflicting accommodations between him and Evan, who are both from the same mining town. He wants Dr. Roberts to reconsider Vinny for admission to the home. Vinny was previously under the care of Dr. Stevens from the post-traumatic department, which is now gone. In the letter, a statement by Vinny on a man named Reverend Green, who had abused him as a child, who would play pirates with him, and the Reverend would always refer to himself as Captain Habit. Dr. Cornthal writes that Vinny's parents went to get him from the Reverend's home, only to find the Reverend eviscerated in another room from where Vinny was playing. Vinny told him that, quote, I would make sure it was okay with the man before we did that. He's very, very greedy. Apparently, the Reverend didn't know that the man doesn't like to share. Dr. Cornthal ends the letter by saying that they should not admit neither Vinny nor Evan. Then another bunch of unsigned tweets, but this seems to be between 2 people. One's in all caps and one's in normal writing on November 4th, 2010. In the normal writing, it says, take solace in the rain, my children. It only means I'm near. All caps says, disregard the banter. In regular text, oh, how pleasant it is to be torn. All caps, it is I who inhabits the sanctuary. In normal text, oh, a classic power struggle is it. All caps, I urge you to leave. Normal writing, they are already mine. Good luck. All in the same tweet.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
The guys take a road trip to Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia is a real place, as with all the other towns, but this one has actual historical significance. A couple decades ago, it was a small mining town that stored all of their garbage underground for some reason, and then they decided to burn all of their garbage.
Oh my god, I heard about that.
Yeah, and they decided to burn all their garbage, but then the fire hit a major coal vein,
And
then
it just never stopped.
and it never stopped, and the whole thing exploded.
That's the fucking fireplace then.
Yeah, so they finally found it. They conclude this must be the place of the land of ash and waste the postcard was talking about. As they're walking, Jeff randomly starts sprinting ahead of them, and the guys follow them. It cuts to A Day in the Life again. Then suddenly they're at the top of the hill. Jeff's sitting there with a necklace in his hand. This is the necklace that Jeff gave to Jessa as a gift, apparently. And Jeff says that they're going to get the Can You See the Words girl for what she did to Jessa. Evan grabs the camera from Vinny's hand and vows that they are going to kill it. As he's talking, the video cuts to short bits of Evan sitting with his head and his knees in the dark, and then a shot of like a single tree in a field. It says, she's gone, guys. I failed her. Jay. This confirms that Jessa is dead. Alex then posts his 6th video to his channel, we see Alex in a bathroom holding his arm. There's blood in the sink, and Alex has deep scratches all up his arm, which he rinses into the sink. He takes alcohol and bandages to dress the wound. Then he moves the camera. We can see that he has several other healing scars on both his upper arm and his other arm. So this has happened before. You can infer from this video that this is the thing in the closet did this to him. And then when he finishes tending to his wounds, he shuts off the camera.
You guys understand my last video freaked you out.
He addresses the events of the previous video. He says we're the only ones that he can show this to. His parents would put his dog down because they would think that it's his dog doing this, and he has no idea what Jeff would do. Jeff hired an exterminator to look for the ants that he thought tore up all the papers and the business cards in the plane video. He was there for half an hour and then left all his tools there and his truck in the front of their house. Family called the company and someone else came back the next day to pick up the stuff. He says the other night before he went to sleep, he locked Sparky out of his room to stop her from freaking out about the door. Then he said he saw something at the foot of his bed, a horrifying creature. He didn't even realize that it cut him until he ran into the bathroom, which is what the events of the video that we just saw were.
Sleep somewhere else.
There's a lot of people make a lot of bad decisions here.
I would sleep on the couch.
Then the next unsigned tweet, posted with the all caps on November 9th, 2010, says, "In a world of such uncertainty, there's no truth we can cling to. We shall all join the doctor inevitably. You too shall drown. 7 in Roman numerals." Then someone who is a fan of Everyman Hybrid gets a letter in the mail. This was the surprise that they were going to give to the person who won the contest for Everyman Hybrid. This is the Corinthia letter dated to October 27th, 1981. The outside covered in Roman numerals that say 7 repeatedly with "you let us in" also written on it. The letter is a journal entry from Dr. Corinthal, not a medical report. He says that the last of the children from the, quote, mining town floor have died. That he's failed as a doctor and a protector. His other current patient, a girl from New York, is on emotional life support. He says this girl, whose name is Linny, has personal demon that is more feral than his other children. He says that he's the only hope for these children, as other doctors didn't understand what was going on, but he does. They are like his own children, and he will not let his daughter die. He's going to take Linny east. They have to leave Ohio. She has to live a good life without him. He recalls Evan's photographs, Jeff's stories, and Steph's art. Notably, those are the names of 3 of the 4 characters from present day. Evan, Jeff, and Steph. And we mentioned Vinny earlier.
And they just don't remember any of that, I guess.
Well, this was also in the 70s. These people are 20.
Maybe they were
2010.
reincarnated.
I'm doing this. I want to. I don't like this.
The next Morse code video, H, Evan sitting in a corner somewhere we haven't seen before, then someone cleaning a cut in a bathroom, then to Jess's necklace, then a day in the life, then Steph standing in the exact same place that Evan was sitting in that white room, Alex's dog Sparky sitting on someone's steps, a day in the life again, over and over. These clips just keep flashing back and forth. Then it finally ends with Jeff lying awake in his bed at night with text on the screen that says, "His loss blinds him," talking about Jessa. Another unsigned tweet was posted on the 14th of November 2010. One word, tilt.
Tilt.
What is this, help wanted too?
What? Did you ever think to look in there?
I don't think it's
I know
there
you guys
now.
have a cross. What the fuck?
Evan got a weird USB in the mail earlier that day. He looks through the footage on the file and finds footage from inside of Jeff and Alex's house. It seems to be from security camera footage, but they don't have security cameras in their house.
Opening.
I don't know that it's picking up on the mic, but all of our doors keep rattling. It's Slender Man.
It's
No.
Slender Man.
Evan sees on the video clips of Alex limping from his room to the bathroom holding his arm. So he decides to go over to Alex and Jeff's house to investigate. Evan and Alex go to his room and talk. And Evan reassures Alex that the other 3 of them have also been attacked by something. Maybe not the same thing that's attacking Alex, but something else. That the thing attacking him is nothing like Slender Man. It's not human. It has black eyes, scars, crawls like an animal. Evan asks if it's bald, and Alex says yes.
Oh.
She's bald! She's bald and she's torturing people who have hair!
Is the same creature that they saw in the Cops Check No Body video in the woods. That creature is called the Rake. The Rake is another popular creepypasta that started up around the same time as Slender Man. It's like a little hairless dog-looking human thing. Evan tells him that it's the thing they saw in the woods the other day. Alex says that Jeff doesn't know what's happening to him because he doesn't want to worry him. And Evan goes, no. And he runs into Jeff's room and it's like, Alex has something to tell you. So Jeff gets really upset and he's like, well, we're going to go find this thing. Where is it? It's in my closet. So that's why you have all that stuff in front of the closet? His room is barricaded in front of the closet. They go in there. Half the stuff's already all over the floor. Alex says this is what it does. It's been going on for a week. Then they hear a phone ringing from inside the closet. They go in, they get it. It's Vinny's phone. They ignore it for a bit, focusing on the crawl space. Evan ventures into the crawl space in the back of this closet and then jumps out and scares Jeff, being like, oh, there's nothing in there. So they close the door, creepy sounds start coming from behind the door, and they lock the door shut with random, like, chains and stuff from their garage that they found. And so they'll come back and check on in a couple of days, and Alex is going to have to go sleep somewhere else. The next video is from a different channel called Green Feathers, famously the person who found the first box. The Everyman Hybrid group had sort of a fan meetup in New Jersey, but only one person showed up, which was Green Feathers. So
That's so sad.
they have a fun time in the park together. It's Green Feathers, Vinny, Evan, Jeff, and Jesse.
The first hybrid meetup.
One day from my birthday.
But at the same time, Everyman Hybrid posts a video on their own channel. This video is kind of the same, just from another person's point of view. They hang out at the park. But then at the end, something different happens. They're all driving back to someone's house. They get a call from their friend Ryan. Vinny says that Ryan just called them to say that he'd been into a car accident, but in the background of the call, he could hear those noises. Presumably the noises that they hear whenever Slenderman or the Rake is around.
You really think that you fought?
As they're driving, the Everyman Hybrid guys see a dead deer on the road. This is right after the events of the last video, so right after they get that phone call. They see the deer's stomach has been cut open, but Evan comments that whoever did that did it the wrong way. Cuts to a clip of someone spying on Evan from another room. Evan seems to be talking to someone, but there is no one there. He seems to be having a disagreement about who is the boss in their partnership, and then cuts back to Vinny talking about Ryan and confirms that Ryan did get into a car accident and Ryan died. His body was completely
R.I.P.
broken and scratched up. Officers said it looked like something hit him speeding and flew out of the car, but the guys just went and did their own assessment of the car for some reason and says that that's not the case. All the glass was on the inside of the car, meaning something attacked him and pulled him out. Back to Evan. He's still talking with someone who's apparently really powerful. Back to Vinny. He got an email from Ryan on the day that he got into the car accident from an account called the 7 Trials of Habit, asking him to participate in a contest. It seemed like a prank at first, and he followed along with it until the person he was messaging asked for a pint of his blood.
No, just 1 pint.
Just 1 pint. It's not like you only have like 7 of them. Cutting back to Evan, saying that he brought him these things to play with, meaning that he should do whatever he wants in return. He also said he can kill whatever he wants. He also is holding a butcher's knife, which is now in frame. When Jeff makes his presence known with the camera, Evan gets up to try to talk to him, and the video glitches out. In the description of the video, Jeff links the email as they're going to sign up for whichever contest thing that Ryan was talking about to figure out what was going on, and he writes that he told Alex not to enter out of fear of his safety. Then more unsigned tweets, all in uppercase, talking about this contest, saying, "Great to see your enthusiasm, but some of you fools have not applied properly." Then, even though someone like me needs a holiday, enjoy your families while you still can, rabbits, please. Tell them what you've been up to. And making me travel on a holiday, seriously, rabbits number 151 through 153 have been eliminated. Do not fuck with me. And then, that is all. If you've sent in an application, you will be processed. Otherwise, you will have to wait your turn. No more applicants yet. I will get to what this contest is in a second. First, Everyman Hybrid has another separate social media account on Ustream, where they had a stream on November 26, 2010. They cleared up a bunch of stuff that we kind of didn't know before, such as Jeff and Alex's parents have died, and Alex pretends that they're still alive, which is a really big thing to not mention. The letters from the school that they found are the same that people have been receiving in the mail. Vinny lost his phone 3 days prior to it being found in Alex's closet. They're unaware of the unsigned tweets, but haven't seen any of the videos about them, like the Morse code videos. Jeff works at a hospital, and that's really it. But now is a good time to talk about Habit and his 7 trials. You've probably been wondering what's going on with that, who's leaving these unsigned tweets. That is someone named Habit. His presence became known starting on Twitter and with the mention in the previous video with the 7 Trials of Habit and Ryan. He's continuously mentioned in the videos about the Cornthal letters. It is not known that the word Habit actually meant a person until these trials started. We can infer that Habit has been the one hiding the boxes until this point, because his signature is the purple duct tape and the all caps text, which is found all over those. But basically, his first outspoken move was to make his own Twitter account called the 7 Trials of Habit and announce that he is having a contest. You can apply, and then everyone will get a number, so you'd be rabbit, number, whatever. This contest drags out for the entirety of the duration of the series. However, I'm just going to go over all of it now, because the actual what the contest was isn't important, but certain things that you win from the contest will become important later. but basically what happens is Jeff, Evan, and Vinny become rabbits 2, 3, and 4, and then Habit divides all the rabbits into 3 groups of 77 members, and then there are the 7 trials of Habit. Trial 1, Part 1, just make a list of your 5 favorite items, send them into Habit, and then Trial 1, Part 2 is you have to take one of those items, bury them in your backyard, upload a video to YouTube of you doing that, and then say at the end of the video, Habit made me do it. If you didn't do it in the allotted times amount, you would be eliminated. At the end of the trial, only 157 of the original 231 applicants remained. Habit then tweeted it on the EverymanHYBRID account after this. If you claimed you followed the rules and were cruelly judged or otherwise are wanting to email him, he does not respond to any of those emails. Trial 2, Part 1. Each of the remaining rabbits in each faction have to vote for a designated leader to represent them in a runt who would be eliminated. They had to until the end of that week to vote by email submission. And then Trial 2, Part 2, the rabbits as a collective needed to vote for one of them for both positions to be the overall one. The one voted for the runt would be eliminated. When the stage ended, rabbit number 098 was chosen as the Warren rabbit leader, and rabbit 224 was eliminated. We also announced that 15 other rabbits will also fall with the runt that was eliminated. Jeff contacted another one of the rabbits and volunteered himself and the EverymanHYBRID guys to be the eliminated ones because they didn't want to participate in this anymore because they have a lot of other stuff going on at this point. Habit asks for the home addresses of all the remaining rabbits, all 138 of them, because he's going to mail them a gift. Trial 3. The rabbits must sever ties with a friend in any way possible, upload a video of it to YouTube, either recalling the event or if they recorded a call with that friend to do it, to upload that. Rabbits should not tell them why they are doing this, and only 76 people completed this task. Trial 4. Habit emailed the remaining rabbits a poem, which they must record themselves reciting in a public place. At the end of this, 48 rabbits remained. The designated winner, because they have their best submission, was rabbit number 052, who was declared the Warren Jester. Trial 5, Part 1. The rabbits must create a nice gift for a loved one, including a picture of the 2 of them, and it must be a physical item. Proof of completion comes with the second half of the trial, where they must steal back said gift, document the reclaiming of said gift, tell the recipient this is a symbol of their love, and then destroy the gift in front of them. They must email the video to Habit as confirmation, and 38 rabbits remained at the end of the trial. Trial number 6, the rabbits must organize a protest outside the office of an elected official in their local area, calling for their removal, and gain 10 supporters.
Did people actually do that?
Yes. You can find these videos online, by the way. You can look this up. People put these on YouTube. You have to gain 10 supporters and also advocate for Habit 2012, because at this point it was 2012 when this happened. Video confirmation of the trial was required. At the end of the trial, 8 rabbits remained. I wouldn't do it either.
I would have done it. Are you kidding me?
No, that's scary.
That's so fun.
Trial 7, stay alive, keep breathing. He said that the trials would continue until there's only 1 rabbit remaining. Extra innings happened because there were still too many people left. He asked for the home address of all the remaining rabbits. They were all mailed, things that I'll talk about later, from different Cornthal documents that if you put them together it makes one big Cornthal document. And then Habit declared rabbit number 061 to be the winner of the trials. So that went on for 6 years-ish, but the stuff that people won will be brought up later. So one of those things was the Jester's Prize, after the person was named the Warren Jester. They received a note from Dr. Cornthal in the mail because people just gave out their home address to some random guy.
I mean, it was 2012. So
even in 2012, would you be like, sorry, Mom and Dad, I'm going to get a package in the mail from some random guy on Twitter who wanted a pint of my blood as a joke. Don't worry, though. This is an undated note. We don't know when this is from. But Dr. Cornthal and his colleague, Dr. Roberts, have asked a student at the University of Florida to work on a device that can detect a new type of radiation. At first, the readouts from the device were weird and not working right. The machine assigned the letter sigma to the type of radiation. No. The students are confused as to why they wanted them to research this from them, and the students tested pieces of cloth that Dr. Cornthal found in a tree at what he calls the Asher House. They conclude that they're not exactly sure what was causing the radiation.
Scattered all over the internet as if it's our fault.
So usually on YouTube back then, you could do video replies to YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, it's basically just a place where they were all going to compile all of the videos of people who got geocaches and did all the different stuff and just put it together. Now it's just the video of them saying this is the place where it's going to be because they deleted that feature on YouTube, so it's not really that important.
So the videos are gone now? Or are they still
You can
there
get them in individual ones, but the ones that were replies under there and all the information that people would put, that's all gone. On December 3rd, 2010, a Unfiction forum member, Unfiction was a website where people would write basically their little Slenderman OC stories,
Probably read some of them.
got a letter in the mail from one of the Cornthal letters dated to December 26th, 1976. In this was also a toy wooden soldier Christmas tree ornament. Inside was a journal entry from the Cornthal. It's basically a really nice letter being like, me and my wife are having such a good Christmas with our children, who are the Mining Town 4 children.
Habit made me do it.
Alex has entered the Trials of Habit without the permission of Jeff, who has explicitly told him not to do this. This is the trial where you had to bury something that you loved and record a video of it. Alex chooses the first shotgun shell that he ever fired.
I'm not a good cameraman.
The video opens with a title card that reads 6 p.m. The Everyman Hybrid guys are in a hospital of some sort and they're looking for someone. They say that there's records that say that she's in room 141. We also find out that this is the hospital that Jeff works in, that he mentioned in the past. Vinny and Jeff leave for like 5 seconds and then come running down the hallway with a girl, which is Steph. They find security guards that are running after them since they're not supposed to be there, and they're breaking one of their patients out, and Jeff tackles them and they all escape. Steph asks what's going on, and they try to explain. Evan says that they wanted to break her out because she didn't belong in there. She was in the hospital for mental issues following Jessa's death. The cops thought she was insane and killed Jessa, so they locked her up in a mental institution. That was partially Jess's fault because he told them that she did it.
Yeah.
Steph said that this was the worst possible time they could have done this because she was set to be released the next day.
We helped out our friend last week.
It's a voice file of Jeff that got deleted because the website that I was on deleted the video. But a tweet that says, if anyone were to see the damsel video, it seems like it couldn't criminalize of anything at this point. He also includes a link to download a .wav file, which is what we hear now. The audio, Jeff saying that he got an email from the hospital that they wanted to collect donations for the families of a janitor and a security guard who died at the hospital that night. Jeff reminisces about the two being part of this band that would play at the Christmas parties, and he then tells us what happened to them. Apparently there was a bunch of rooms that had pressurized tanks of oxygen, which malfunctioned and blew up over the night, killing a doctor and a janitor. However, those were in the rooms 140 through 150, and Steph was in 141. They would have seen the explosion happen, but they didn't. They went in, they got Steph, and they got out. They probably would have died in the explosion, but they didn't. It didn't happen, but it did.
In case you guys didn't realize, we're not happy news. Anyway,
37 people died on a bus today.
Steph, it's not even funny.
It seems like Steph has become a regular part of the group. She hangs out with them, they go to restaurants, they play video games together, they play pranks on her, and Evan and Vin decide one day that they're going to play a prank on her because she left her phone unattended, so they decide, we're going to change her voicemail. So they go through her voicemails, and she has one saved. And they're like, oh, let's listen to her saved voicemail. They play it. It's from Jessa. Jessa seems to be chased by something. She says that Steph was right, he's after her, she doesn't know what to do, and Jeff walks in as it's playing. Afterwards, Evan decides to have a sit-down talk with Steph about what happens. He asks if she knew how to stop him. She says she doubts there's any way to stop him. She says almost everything that they know they've tried already. And then it cuts to a clip of the guys looking at a patch of blood in the snow. There's fresh blood over what Vinny says is the grave of his dead cat who died 6 years earlier, so there's no way that blood should be fresh. Then they turn around and see Slenderman standing on Vinny's porch. Back inside, Evan is annoyed with the other two guys. They're mad at Steph for not knowing anything. Evan's defending her, saying that she doesn't know everything. She's just a scared girl, and they need to leave her alone. Then he talks more about his dead cat, saying that he got a voicemail a day earlier saying to keep Mittens warm. Mittens was the name of his cat. And they all spent the weekend with flu-like symptoms.
I don't know, man, but this is unbelievably infuriating.
Jeff says that this video was also found on the USB, but it was completely corrupted until now, which seems to be working just fine. In the video, the Everyman Hybrid guys are seen walking to that single tree at the top of Baldpate Mountain, but now it's dead since it's wintertime. It's basically cut in with the clips of them walking up to the tree during the A Day in the Life video, but we haven't seen this version before. The guys sit down in the grass in front of the tree, and Jeff says, now what? And Evan says, it seems like they're just going around in circles, and it's the same every single time. On the 20th, they have a Ustream as well. More things that they decided not to mention earlier are cleared up. They've taken Alex's room back from the rake. He's fine now. They can't see these leaked videos, but have them described by others. Again, they can't see the 77 out of 76 AVI video. Steph is living in the basement of Evan's house right now. The voicemail from Jessa is from early September, and now it's January. They can see the tragic hero statement at the end of the Slush Pops and Surprises video, but they have no idea what it can mean. They saw no signs of Slenderman during the time they were breaking out Steph. When Slenderman is around, they can hear sirens and children's voices. Evan says that he's never met Habit or knows anything about him besides his name. Evan says that any of the missing time that he's experienced in the videos, like when he's like out of it, is probably just because he's really sleep deprived. Vinny says that he hopes that these Fairmount papers from Dr. Kornthal are fake. They say they don't feel very threatened by Habit at the moment, mostly Slenderman and the Raid, because at this point Habit is just doing his little Twitter trials. And for trial 1, Evan says that he buried his prettiest knife, and Vinny says that he buried his limited edition copy of Ocarina of Time.
Video.
What would you bury if you had to do that?
I don't know. I'm a little bit of a hoarder, so I have a lot of little things that I love a lot.
Same.
Maybe.
I don't know. I would dig it back up, though. I don't know why they didn't just dig everything back up.
I'm trying to, like, keep track of everything. Oh my god. Because it's, like, this went on for 6 years.
Yeah. So at this point, trial 1 just happened.
I can't even imagine planning out
this
an
whole
experiment this long. Like,
Yeah.
I would forget my YouTube channel password, or I'd be like, fuck, I wasn't supposed to upload that one. And I'd ruin the whole thing.
No, we're not as organized as people were in
Not
2010.
even close.
Those so-called hidden videos, why we couldn't see it, maybe it has something to do with my internet.
They still can't see any of the hidden videos that we can see as watchers, but someone has made a compilation of them and sent it in a video to Jeff, and they're going to watch it together because they still don't believe anyone that these videos... I don't know. The thing is, like, they didn't believe anyone and they still think they're fake. They all sit down in front of the old TV to watch the clips. As soon as the footage starts playing, the TV starts to glitch out and the video stops completely. Then the crew recites these lines as if they're in a trance.
It's not like we did anything wrong. We were just playing a game.
We used to do it all the time in the home, Doctor. I mean, every weekend we play these games.
We just wanted to find the hidden treasure.
I'm sorry that you and Miss Marianne had to drive this far, but we were trying to get back on our own. He got us there in an instant. I don't know why it took us so long to get home.
It's not like we unlocked the door or broke the door or anything. We didn't even use them.
We were just playing pretend. I don't know what happened.
And the video cuts to black. 8 minutes have passed, and all 4 of them are lying asleep on the floor. They all wake up, and they have blood coming from their noses and ears, Stranger Things style. They also have huge bags under their eyes and are all really hungry. In the description of the video, Jeff said that none of them can remember what happened during the blackouts or what attacked them during this, but the only thing that stood out was the word doctor.
Don't go too far, Jeff.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
Jeff and Evan are geared up to fight the monster that's living in Alice's crawl space in his closet, and they're like, it's only a small space.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many moving parts to this, but yeah, they said in the Ustream they took the room back, but now they're gonna go fight the monster. Like, it's not in there anymore, but they're gonna go find it because there's a crawl space in his closet.
How do you have a crawl space in a closet?
I know someone who did. They had a whole room back there. So they're like, it's a finite space. We can find it. So they start going through the crawl space, and the crawl space is not as small as I thought. It keeps going, and now they're in a large tunnel, and then Evan sees a light at the end of the tunnel and realizes that he's lost his knife. They end up in a weird basement/furnace room. The hole where they just came into the room is gone. And they find a door, they go outside. Now they're at the top of Ballpaint Mountain again. They're in one of the houses that they went exploring in the Day in Life video. So they call Vinny and they're like, can you come get us? 2 days later, to try again, Evan gets his knife back, but it was in a sheath on his bed, like he never took it out in the first place. Jeff and Evan go back and open the closet, but now there's no crawl space in there at all. Jeff also finds a note on the floor that's incomplete, and then they leave the room as it is. On February 17th, 2011, 098, this was the gift for being voted the Warren leader after trial 2 in the 7 trials. A box of sealed with purple duct tape. Inside of the box was an orange hat, another box with the word habit scratched into it, as well as 4 scratches signifying that it's the 4th box. Inside the second box is another Kornthal letter. This Kornthal letter is dated to February 27th, 1975. Kornthal describes the children as having a group relapse the other day. Occasionally, one of them will experience mood swings or other emotional distress. After an episode, the children become reclusive, especially Steph. They refuse to eat or drink and lock themselves in their rooms. Most recently was the other day. Marianne called in frantically because the children had gone missing. Later that night, they got another call from a police officer, a man named Officer Matten, saying that they found them unharmed a few hours away. They drove to go get them. After speaking with them, it turns out that it was not them running away, it was another episode. The children talked with Marianne later, and she got this information out of them. They said, quote, "It's not like we did anything wrong. We were just playing a game. We used to do it all the time in the home, doctor. I mean, every weekend we played these games. You got us there in an instant. I don't know what took us so long to get home. We just wanted to find the hidden treasure." And at the end of the page are the words, in all caps, "How many lives have you led and spent?"
What the fuck are you doing?
They should know, Evan.
They should know jack shit. We're not fucking talking about this on the fucking camera.
Vinny announces, for some reason, the sad news that Jesse's grandmother, Rose, had died. They were going to question Jessie about her uncle, Dr. Cornthal, but they decided not to since her grandma just died. And he says that seemingly she was murdered by someone because there's no way she could have just died. And they don't know by what or by who, but as Vinny's explaining this, Evans shouts at me like, "We're not talking about this on camera. What's wrong with you?" Which is the perfectly normal response to have to explaining that someone's grandma died on camera and it's not your grandma.
So,
and
like,
it's
they just died.
someone else's business. And
Let
then,
them bury her first, at least.
in March 19th, 2011, there's more unsigned tweets, coordinates from Habit, because Habit's like, "We haven't had any fun in a little while, have we?" And he puts coordinates in the tweet. Leading to, on literally a day later, March 30th, 2011, Box 5 being found. The box was a large treasure chest with 5-7 scratched into it. The box was wrapped in purple duct tape. But this is a really important box to get because inside the box was a machete with purple duct tape on the handle, matchbox cards, a Cornthal report, several coins, a book called Everyman and Other Miracle Morality Plays, and a bunch of playing cards. Each of the playing cards was marked with a character's name plus extra features on their faces. Jeff was on the Jack of Hearts with the hearts crossed out. Evan is on the Jack of Spades with a dagger and a hatchet drawn into its hands. Vinny is on the Jack of Clubs with an eye drawn on his face. Steph is the Queen of Clubs with her face crossed out. Slenderman is the King of Diamonds. Dr. Cornthal is the Ace of Hearts. And Habit is the Joker. The Everyman play and its annotations were in the box. The actual play is like a Christian morality play, which is basically about this guy who is the Everyman, who is like a representation of humanity, and he's going to go to death to be judged. And he has to bring along other parts of humanity with him, so he's bringing along like charity, fellowship, good, strength, but they all start leaving him along this journey, except for one, which is good deeds, showing that only your good deeds will be judged when you die. However, on all of these pages, there are annotations written in all caps at the bottom, seemingly staged directions, because the Everyman is a play. Reads as such: "Enter the Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian. The Voyeur will watch from an emotional distance, insisting upon maintaining their strength. The Firebrand shall disregard obvious danger and assume the role of force. The Guardian will lose his heart and then his blood and fight to lose all he loves. The Voyeur shall remain idle to all who see, however busy he may be beneath. The Firebrand shall lead an offense as he might, only to succumb to the war within. The Firebrand shall defect and self-immolate, no longer defining the two within. The Guardian shall defy God, only to be dealt a fatal blow. The Voyeur shall swallow justice's sword. Their world shall perish, their world shall burn. You two are on the same sinking vessel. The great flood shall wash away all the ash, renewing the world for another greater cycle. Exit all." Now, I will tell you this now, but you are supposed to figure out which character is supposed to be which character in the Everyman play as this goes on, because they correspond to one of the Everyman Hybrid guys, all of them. So keep that in the back of your minds. Everything that was found in this box is a Cornthal letter, dated to December 14th, 1971. This is about a patient named Jeff from the Mine Town 4. Dr. Cornthal apologizes for his prior hesitation for the admission of all 4 of the children. He still thinks that it is not wise to fully discharge any of the children at this time. He talks about how hard it is for Jeff to acclimate to the routine schedule. He has a recurring dream since his admission about violent death of his family back in Pennsylvania in the mining town. There's a transcript of the conversation about his dream, that it was his last Christmas. He was in the kitchen with his mom and Ellie when he heard talking and he heard the door open. His father walks into the living room and there was a loud crash at the door. He had just gotten back from hunting with a shotgun and he was covered in dead animals. He says, "Merry Christmas," and then shoots the mother and Ellie before turning the gun on himself. He then touches an ornament on the tree, a toy soldier that was Jeff's favorite, and tells Jeff that he loves and says, "The man made me do it," before pulling the trigger. Then Jeff wakes up from the dream. Dr. Cornthal says that these night terrors happen about twice a week, requesting to move all 4 children to their own sleeping quarters together.
Cool.
That seems convenient, yeah, right?
The guys decide that it's now time to talk to Jessie about her uncle, Dr. Cornthal. Notably, her grandmother has just died, but they're like, enough time's passed.
What about your uncle, though?
Yeah, what about your uncle? It's been a month. They go into the house to talk to her. They all give her a hug, except for Vinny, because he's holding the camera, so he can't give her a hug. Same guy who put her family business on the internet for no reason. Jessie says that she was meaning to give them a bunch of stuff because she found a bunch of stuff in her grandmother's things about Dr. Kornthal. She says that she learned a lot about him. He was a child psychologist that worked in Ohio, and he was kind of estranged from the family. She gives him a binder that was full of a bunch of documents. Towards the end of the documents, it mentions a storage unit. It includes the receipts from it, and also there's a key in the back of the binder. And they're like, this is all a little bit too convenient. But then they drive to the storage unit anyways. They go into the storage unit and find a whole bunch of boxes full of documents and photos. A rocking horse that was already rocking when they got there. A weird device that no one really knows what it is when they find it. They also find a lot of knives and ammunition rounds. Jeff picks up the weird device and starts to buzz as everyone looks at the stuff. As the guys try to leave, the door to the unit closes on its own behind them. Jessie's outside, and they call for her, but she can't open the door. She leaves to go find a security guard to go help them, and they kind of stand there in the dark. Jeff says his phone isn't working. Vinny brought a lighter with them. He takes it out to use it to see. The device starts going crazy. It starts beeping really, really loud, and then Slender Man shows up. He attacks Vinny, and everything goes dark. Then it's suddenly daytime. A man opens up the storage unit door. The rocking horse isn't there in the corner. The man outside has it. He walks in and places it down, seemingly not noticing the three of them standing in this storage facility. He says, "I'm so sorry, guys. I failed all of you." Walks out of the storage unit, shuts it. In the video description, Vinny writes, he's not okay after this whole ordeal. He felt sick for days. He assumed that the man they saw in the storage facility must have been the doctor.
Uncle, who's dead.
Yeah, Jesse's dead uncle, the doctor. Alex posts another video on his channel. He's with Jeff standing in front of a band playing Hotel California in a hospital cafeteria. This is the same band.
Scary song.
This is the same band that Jeff mentioned in the Hospital Fire.wave video that had the two people who died in the explosion, but the date is from after the explosion. On April 20th, Jeff releases a Google Doc with the materials found in the Kornthal storage facility. He writes that there are many pictures and files, pictures of Dr. Kornthal and his friends and family on various trips. They also found a metal canister with bits of film negative in it. None of them have any clue what it means.
Hey, did you remember safety towel?
Oh man, it's never looked so ominous.
But the guys follow the lead for the camera canister thing that they found in the storage unit and find a serial number at the bottom. They trace it to the library in their town. Vinny calls them on the phone, speaks to a girl named Lexi, helps them go to the library, check how you can find the stuff on the camera, the film negatives, and Vinny explains all of this to Jeff, saying like, let's go to the library. Alex walks in. Vinny's like, hey, do you want to come with us to the library? And Alex says he needs to go ask his parents. Jeff says he can't keep doing this again. Alex leaves the room, comes back in with a CD player, presses one of the buttons. A recording of his mother's voice says that it's too dark outside and he shouldn't go. Jeff says it's 10 in the morning. As we know, Jeff and Alex's parents are dead. And they've been dead for a while. They mentioned it on one of the Ustreams. And Alex is still pretending that they're alive. Jeff is afraid to stop him, says that it's just part of the grieving process, and that he's really confused. So Jeff and Vinny go to the library anyways. Vinny talks to that girl Lexi, and he gets the camera footage, and also he has her phone number now. What the librarian gave them was a bunch of news articles about Dr. Kornthal that Jeff says that he will transcribe and type up later. Later, Evan and Jeff are in Jeff's house, and Jeff is transcribing the articles that they found. Jeff wants to upload it on their Mediafire account, but he can't because someone has changed the password. Articles were from the local newspapers with various reports about Dr. Kornthal, some praising his work to the doctor or about his patients, others talking about him evading police custody and possible murder charges against him. Alex is standing and staring at the glass door in the room and says it's back. Jeff asks if it's Sparky, their dog, still outside, and they run outside, follow Alex to the storage shed. And before Alex runs inside, Evan tries to hold him back. Evan goes in to investigate on his own to prove that there's nothing in there, but gets attacked by the rake in the shed. Jeff,
the rake in the shed.
The rake in the shed, but
What
not
about
that
the hoe
kind
in
of
the shed.
Not that kind
The
of
shovel?
rake. The shovel in the shed, but it's not that kind of rake. It's the capital R. Evan gets beat up pretty bad. Cuts to him in a bathtub. Blood is everywhere. Evan says he's pretty sure what attacked him in there wasn't Sparky. He thinks that whatever was in there took her and killed her. Evan seems to be completely fine despite having his entire arm basically ripped in half. Isn't acting like he's hurt at all. The video description reads, optimism only leads to letdowns, with a link to the notes from the library. Then on June 7th, on the Can You See the Words Tumblr account, Habit takes over. We learned a lot about what happens with Habit on this account because he gives us a lot of information about what his deal is by what he posts. The first is a picture from a clip of a documentary about Ed Gein, a notorious serial killer. with a text that says under it, "Damn, I love those skull bowls." Ed Gein was famous for turning the skulls of his victims into bowls and eating his victims. He then posts the song Jack the Ripper by Motorhead, a song about the famous serial killer Jack the Ripper, with the comment under it, "Not their best work, but I'm still flattered." He also makes a post about another serial killer and cannibal, Albert Fish. Around this time, Evan makes a post on Steph's account saying that she's going to abandon the blog because of the takeover by Habit. This makes Habit post even more things. He then posts a picture of Vlad the Impaler saying a simpler way of life, :D.
That's kind of real though. Back when, like, instead of fighting with people, you just killed them.
Yeah.
You don't have Twitter beef. You just
impale them
people.
on a stake. Have a duel.
Yeah, why can't we have duels anymore?
Bring that back. Hamilton was right. He also posts some first-hand accounts by what seems to be victims of Habit on the blog. Habit seems to have made these people write these before they died. One of them is from a girl named Dawn from 1957 who watched her parents get murdered by Habit. The next is a man named Johnny who was tortured and killed and had to watch his wife get killed by Habit. He said that the tall man was keeping her alive for longer so that Habit could hurt her for even longer. His son was also taken from him by Slender Man. The next account is from someone named Nicholas who saw his parents and sisters murdered by Habit. Habit and Slender Man had visited his home. Habit took over his body at the time and made him kill his dog.
So Habit is, like, not even a person at this point.
Yeah. Habit's not a person. Habit, like Slenderman, Habit's like an entity. But we don't really know what type of entity he is, because Slenderman can't do this.
Yeah, we're just like, Slenderman doesn't really do stuff. He just, like, he's like an omen. It's like if he's around, something's gonna happen, but he doesn't, like, do it to you.
Yeah. Habit also says that he's training Nick to fight something. Then there's a policeman who wrote a report in 2004 about looking for Habit, and Habit mentions that he seemed like he would be the perfect shell for him to take over in his new form. What we're gathering from this is that Habit is able to take over people's bodies and has inhabited the lives of notorious villains throughout history.
But he's not like a person, he's just, hey, this is a cool body, let me take it and then make this guy crazy. It's not like that's actually him.
No, he's not really a person, he's a thing.
He's a thing.
He's a thing.
He's an idea.
So now we get into a different YouTube channel, because at the same time that this was going on, there was another Slenderman YouTube channel called Tribe 12. Now we don't like Tribe 12 because the creator is not a nice guy. We do not like the creator, but there are some crossovers between Tribe 12 and EverymanHYBRID.
Piece of paper with text on it. I think it's a letter or something.
Gets an envelope from someone who seems to be Habit. It has a purple X and duct tape on the front, infrared photos of Slenderman, and it says, "We are all just creatures of blank." Also in the letter were some Corenthal letters, 2 of them actually, both of them from 1995. In the first letter, Corenthal talks about doing various interviews, one in particular in Florida. He's surprised when anyone wants to hear him speak, as it's basically an outcast from the medical community at this point, re all of the suspicious murder cases that are against him and the fleeing from the police that was happening prior to this. He's surprised why anyone wants to hear him speak, but he has a conference. People at the conference call him a murderer, and he storms out. He passes by the pediatric ward at the hospital where he's giving this conference and notices a young boy getting stitched up in the arm, talking to his family and a police officer. He stops by to listen because the boy told the police officer that the man made him do it. He says that sounds a lot like something that his children would say, and the boy keeps talking, saying that it wasn't his fault that he jumped off the park ranger's tower. He shoved the police officer to talk to the boy, whose name is Milo. This story is similar to the one that the children of Fairmount Children's Home told, but like, oh, the man made me do it, the man took us here, I didn't do it, it wasn't my fault. In the second letter, he speaks more about Milo Asher. He gives him a little journal. It says that he can only have the journal if he tells him about the dreams that he's been having. They discuss the man that Milo talks to, describes him as tall, lanky, dozens of branch-like arms, and a featureless face. Recalls going through old art and stories from his children, and the parallels are striking. Corenthal asks Milo if he knows his children, and Milo says that they don't. Then, instead, Milo says they've already been their doctor. When Corenthal asks what Milo meant, and Milo seems to not realize that they said that, and goes back to watching television. At this point, the children have been dead since 1981. He left the house, noticing that there's a torn piece of black cloth on a bush outside of the house. Touching the cloth made him feel a bit ill, and he was going to have to take it to a friend to get it examined.
Yeah, Jeff. I know somebody named James who looks exactly
like the guy we saw, yeah.
Jeff starts the video saying that he and Vinny created a video over the last few months and that were largely uneventful, but on the 4th of July, something really weird happened. And they also got it on tape. He plays part of the clip. It shows him, Vinny, and Evan standing on Jeff's back porch. Our video plays and starts with something running around in the grass and attacking someone, most likely the rake. You can't really see it though. They decide to film the intro to the clip they just played. They think this is what they saw in Lambertville. However, this video was sent to them by habit through email. They are now all terrified. They don't know who this guy is and what he wants. The last month has been uneventful. The storage facility stuff wasn't that big of a lead. Vinny also offhandedly mentions that he's dating that librarian girl Lexi. The scene cuts to the group having a movie night. Vinny, Jeff, Alex, Evan, and Jesse are all there. It seems like Alex is getting worse. After Sparky died, he's now put a sock puppet on his hand and pretending that that's Sparky.
I would do that.
On top of the fact that he already thinks that his parents are like voices in his CDs. So things aren't that good. Jeff goes to talk to Alex off screen. Evan tells Vinny that he's talked to Jeff about taking him to a hospital or psychiatric facility, but Jeff is afraid that they'll take Alex away from him, and all he's got left. The next clip is from later that month. There's been no progress as to figuring out what the weird device they found in the storage facility is. It's been completely silent. Then they're in Evan's kitchen a little bit later. Evan says that he found a weird photo of someone who looks exactly like he did as a kid with a man he doesn't know, and on the back of the picture it says James and Evan. And he says that the man looks exactly like the guy that they saw walk into the storage facility.
Yeah.
The next clip is from the 4th of July. Vinny seems to hear something, but the camera isn't picking it up. Evan, Vinny, and Jeff are all running to go check it out, and everyone else is really confused because they can't hear anything. They go over to Vinny's car.
Whoa. Did that just come out of the bottom of my car?
The fuck's going on, dude?
I have no idea. The one you left me.
Yes, the emergency machine.
And you were going to tell me about this.
So, Evan just hides things places. As you know, Evan really likes knives. You'll see that he has a concerning amount of knives. They go get more tools from the shed in Jeff's backyard. The camera cuts to black, and now everyone is standing on Jeff's porch, picking up where the beginning scene left off. They were covered in blood. The Everyman Hybrid guys killed a deer in the woods, or at least Evan did. Jeff and Vinny said they couldn't move, they just watched, and Jeff said that he tried to pull Evan away. Evan said that he shouldn't have tried to do that. Evan seems to be in this trance when he's saying this. Evan killed the deer so violently that the three of them are completely splattered with blood. They're also completely fine, they didn't get hurt. Evan says that they have to go burn the deer. In the description of the video, Evan writes that he finds the whole situation funny since he and Jesse were testing out fake blood pranks on each other earlier that day.
He finds it funny that he
thinks it's funny.
This is like serial killer behavior.
The final Morse code video with letter C. What does it spell?
Wait, it was
What are letters?
S-O...
No. Yeah, it was. Never mind.
S... No.
No.
S-O...
It's a vowel.
A?
Yes.
S-O-A... I forgot what the last one was, the one you just
H-C, which spells chaos. Backwards!
Okay, I was gonna say what...
The beginning of the video is two guys, we can't see their faces, but they're playing the beginning of the song Who Could Win a Rabbit by Animal Collective on guitar.
It's the fucking song.
It's a leitmotif. The video then cuts to the Everyman Hybrid guys somewhere else we haven't seen before. They are sitting in a barn surrounded by candles, and for some reason Evan is in handcuffs. This place, from what they're saying, is not in the world that we know of, and is referred to by the Everyman Hybrid community as the Candleverse, hence the candles that are around them. That's why it's called that. So,
but I mean, what about that doesn't seem like it's the Earth?
Well, now we'll get to that. Vinny reminds the group that he has the keys for the handcuffs, so if anything happens to them, they have to protect the Everyman. And it's not like he doesn't trust Evan. Evan seems to understand. The clip cuts back to Vinny's basement, and they're talking about Alex. Jeff thinks that the rake is targeting Alex, and so is Slenderman. It's because when the guys are there, the things leave them alone, but when Alex is alone, that's when he gets attacked. Something about their presence keeps them away. Back in the Candleverse, Vinny comments that there's only one thing missing from them at the moment. The thing that they're missing is Steph. They haven't seen her lately, and Vinny says that it never seems to want all of them together. Jess says that 19 years have gone by. He thought that it was all real. Back in the basement, Vinny thinks that their Slenderman thing has a stake in all of their survivals, and maybe that's why they're being protected from the rake at all times, since he wants them alive for some reason. In the Candleverse, the guys say they guess they will see Steph soon because something is about to happen to bring her to wherever they are. Vinny says that he's gotten a warning in the past couple weeks, but he doesn't really know how time works where they are. So it may not have been weeks.
They don't really seem that concerned that they're in another dimension.
They're so carefree.
I don't know how the time works here, guys.
And he's like, I don't know how time works, but something big is gonna happen. He just doesn't know what.
Going on.
Ab says that he got some news from Habit that he's organizing some sort of contest in the next couple of months, but he doesn't know what. And it has something to do with them.
They have internet.
They're just
Candle
in a barn. They're in a barn surrounded by candles, and Evan's in handcuffs, and they're just chilling. Back in the basement, Jeff says that Slenderman still attacks Alex, though, and that's a problem. In the candle world, Evan says that he, Slenderman, or Habit, or someone killed the doctor, presumably Dr. Kornthal, and that means that they would be seeing him too soon. Well, they reminisce about the doctor, saying that he put up a fight, and then implies that the doctor shot Evan. They mention that he's been gone for over 30 years, and he did everything that he did just for them. If he didn't piss off that thing, he would still be there. Back in the basement, Evan vows to keep a closer eye on Alex to keep them safe. In the candle world, Jeff messaged that when they are done with this iteration, they will have to talk with Dr. Kornthal. They all get up from where they're sitting. Evan asks for the keys, but Vinny says that they'll unlock him once they get there. Evan grabs Jeff and starts to attack him when he can't get the keys back. Now we move to Minecraft, and I'm not joking. When I said this thing touches every corner of the internet, I'm not joking. There's a Minecraft world. On July 14th, 2011, Habit tweeted on his Twitter a link or a zip file to a Minecraft world that you had to play, and the video was really confusing. Honestly, I don't really know what was going on there, but long story short, you find a sign at the end of the tunnel that you have to go through, and it says, "This place is your tomb," and then there's a password that unlocks a second zip file to get the Kornthal documents that I talked about earlier about Milo.
Apparently my blood has fucking radiation in it or some shit.
The next video is called Sigma. Brain rot back in...
What does Sigma even mean at this
It's just
point?
a Greek letter. Like, no one knows what it means anymore. Evan has taken a sample of Alex's blood to do an experiment on. He sounds surprised that Alex has even been allowed to come over to his house, since Jeff has really been protective over him. But Alex says that Jeff doesn't know that he's at his house in the first place. And then a clip from a different day of Jeff telling Alex that he's not allowed to hang out with Evan anymore, specifically. He's not allowed to help him. He's not allowed to go near him. He's not allowed to hang out with him anymore. Back to Evan and Alex. They're having an experiment to show everyone. Evan has figured out through the notes what the device from the storage unit does. It detects a certain kind of radiation called Sigma radiation. He does an experiment. It's a Slenderman detector. So basically he has a sample of Evan's blood, a sample of Alex's blood. He holds the sample up to Alex's blood, it's fine. Holds it to Evan's blood, it goes, starts going crazy. In the description of the video, and also on the Twitter account for EverymanHYBRID, it's confirmed that Jeff, Steph, and Vinny's blood also does that thing as well. So they all are contaminated with Sigma radiation.
They should have chosen to call it anything else.
They didn't know!
I'd have to fucking
But
call
they
it fucking alpha radiation, bro.
Alpha radiation's already a thing.
Okay, science.
There was a note that was found. It's technically this note was found earlier, but they couldn't get access to this note for some reason until September 19th of 2011. It's another Kornthal journal entry. It's been 2 weeks since he's had any dreams until today. The images were in short flashes. Lenny having a conversation with William, learning that she's biologically related to her siblings, and being told to be careful. He says that Lenny left Rose and William to go find something, confused about her former siblings' lives, and he thinks that he needs to rethink his scope of his investigation.
Go outside and call the fucking cops. I'm filming.
Title written in all caps. That means that Habit was the one who posted this video. The first clip is a random field with the title, "What They Haven't Shown You." Then it's a shot of Alex's room. You can hear the rake in the closet causing trouble, making a lot of noise. Then Jeff, who's taking out Jess's necklace from his pocket. There's some security camera style footage of Vinny on his computer while Sparky runs around in the background. These videos seem to be from a much earlier date. Back to Jeff in his room, he takes out a bottle of pills from his nightstand and takes all of them. Cuts to another video of Vinny and Evan walking to Lexi's house. Vinny comments on how his relationship with her is probably the only good thing that's happened since all of this started. Evan comments that Steph has been living with him, and also implies that they're also seeing each other. They get to Lexi's house and it's a mess. She's not home, and Evan takes a knife from her kitchen to investigate the house. They find black goo in her sink in her bathroom. Evan tells Vinny to go outside and call the cops, and then Vinny's like, "No, I can't, I'm filming, I have to film." And Evan's like, "This is not important right now." So he tries to call 911, but they put him on hold. And then a clip of Slenderman sitting at the top of some stairs, Vinny walking up to meet him and then tripping on the stairs and getting pulled down to the bottom into the basement. Evan exits the house angrily. He tells Vinny that they're leaving. We then see some security camera footage of Vinny coughing up some black goo into what looks like the same sink as before.
What do you mean he's dead? Did you do it?
Also, all caps. This first video clip was dated back to May 18th, 2010, meaning that the beginning of this is an old recording. Evan is talking to his friend Nick about someone breaking into his house. Nick is the person who they got to play the Slenderman in the original videos. Nick and Evan are playing video games, and Evan asks if he's the one who broke into his house, and Nick says no, and Evan says, "Yeah, you're probably too stupid to do that anyways." Video turns black and white. The next clip is of Jeff with the caption saying, "Rules have been broken." And then the next clip is of present day security camera footage from Evan's basement. The full clip is shot from multiple angles and multiple cameras in his basement. Evan is walking around his basement on a call with Vinny. We can't see Vinny at all, but we can hear that he's driving in a car. Evan is covered in bandages across his chest, and purple duct tape is holding it together. Vinny sounds concerned. He says that Evan sent Steph over to Jeff's house because something was going down in Evan's house. Evan explains that Nick broke into his house and tried to kill him. Evan fought back, but it was no use, and he almost died, broke a couple of his ribs.
Evan's always getting the shit beaten out of him.
Evan says that something else took control of him and began fighting back, and that suddenly he was somewhere else, in a field near a forest. The tree at Baldpate Mountain, that's where he was. And he killed Nick. He snapped his neck. Evan is really distraught by this because he said he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to kill him and didn't think it was real, but he felt his hands move and he felt the bones snap in his hands. Vinny doesn't sound that surprised when he hears the news about Nick's murder and tries to convince Evan that he probably just blacked out after being attacked and that it didn't actually happen. Another issue that Evan is having is that he's now found tiny hidden cameras around his house. He didn't put them there. Evan says that he's staring at one right now and looks dead into the camera that we're seeing from. Vinny assures him that everything is going to be okay and that he's going to be at his house in any second.
I found this.
Alex is texting me.
The guys look around for hidden cameras around Evan's house. They find a Wi-Fi capable hard drive under the steps into his house, meaning that someone has definitely had access to all the cameras. More security camera footage is shown, but this time is in Vinny's house. And Vinny finds the cameras that they're looking at. There's talking, but there's no audio. Vinny shuts off his camera, then films from his own camera that he's holding. Evan and Jeff are talking about how some emails they got been erased seemingly by Jeff, and Evan's upset about this. Jeff said that he didn't really remember, it just kind of happened. He didn't make a conscious decision, he just kind of did it. This part is filmed from another hidden camera. Jeff compares this to what happened with Nick, and Evan says that's something completely different. Vinny tells Jeff not to do it again, since these people are their lifeline and they need those emails. Since this video is from 2011, Evan and Jeff have to ask what Wi-Fi is. And Vinny has to explain what a Wi-Fi router is to them. That's what they find under the stairs. They can look for more cameras. The first clip from this video plays again, but we can now see that the Wi-Fi thing is covered in purple duct tape.
Feels like I shouldn't be here, you know? Like, I should have died instead of them.
The entire group has a Christmas party. Vinny decides that he needs to clarify some things. Their last video, Hidden Cameras and Emails, was uploaded by him. All the footage in the video was found by Vinny. The other two videos, Outside Help and Halloween Hangover, he cannot see. He has no idea what people are talking about. It's the whole hidden video situation all over again. He has no idea what people are talking about, and he thinks people are lying because he doesn't trust
Why would you think
anyone.
people are lying?
He doesn't
That's
trust them.
already happened before.
Because they also don't know the Morse code ones are real because they didn't actually see the video. They all went to sleep.
Record it and send it.
At the Christmas party, everyone's having a good time. They're giving each other their gifts. Clip cuts to Jeff and Vinny in a car. Jeff vents about how he can't be a replacement for Alex's parents when he's going through this grieving process, and he doesn't know what he's going to do, and he doesn't know if he can do enough to help him. He also says that he thinks that it should have been him in the river instead of his parents.
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah. He's going through it. Vinny reassures him that he's doing a really good job and he's doing the best he can, but Alex really needs him right now. So then the two of them are like, okay, let's go back inside. But then they seem to be driving down the road, and another car comes, and it looks like it's about to hit them, but then, boop, air horn, they're back inside. They pick up where they left off. Daniel gives his present. Evan wants to open his present, but the video gets interrupted by another video of Evan somewhere else. He's waiting on something important, but he won't tell us what it is. He's waiting outside of a bathroom, and he's waiting for Steph. Back in the party, the present he guesses from Steph. She got him yet another cool knife. He's really happy about it. Back to the bathroom. Steph walks out of the bathroom with what looks like a pregnancy test in her hands, and there's no audio. And then it cuts back to...
Who are they implying?
Well, we know Evan and Steph are together at this point. Like, Evan...
But aren't they also kind of like siblings? Because
No.
that guy like had them all as kids.
No, Steph's not...
She's not one of the kids.
No,
Okay.
they're not... No, the whole thing with the Mining Town 4 is that they're from different families. They're just from the same town.
Yeah.
And also, that's not them.
I think it's them. Because
But
it's
either
like,
way, they're not related. The only
they're
people
not-
who are related are
but
Jeff and
it's
Alex.
It's kind of like how in Umbrella Academy.
No,
it's
don't
like
bring
a bunch of kids from different families.
Ugh.
And then
I don't want to talk about Luther and Allison right now. So
back on track.
Everyone gets their gifts. Then it cuts to a clip of Alex playing the bass, and you can see his little sock puppet, and he goes, "I know that's not my dog."
Try fasting.
They go to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, because they want to talk to their friend Jessie, who has just recently moved there for school. They need to ask her more questions about her uncle, Dr. Kornthal. Vinny thinks that they're lost because they've been driving forever and they're going in circles, and all the houses seem to be going in the wrong order. When they're driving, Evan gets a frantic call from Jessie. We can't hear what she's saying. We know something bad is happening or has happened. Evan asks if she's called the police, And then when he hangs up, he tells Vinny to drive faster. When they get to the house, Vinny takes the camera and they watch Evan enter the house, who tells them not to go in. There's really loud music playing from the house, and Vinny and Jeff approach the house and hear loud thuds from inside. Glass heard breaking from inside the house. Then they run around the outside, see Evan staring at them from the window in the attic. While outside, Vinny gets attacked by the rake and Jeff runs away.
I don't think I've ever seen him cry like that at all.
Vinny wakes up after his attack. He's covered in blood, and he takes the camera and walks towards the house. He calls out for Jeff, who's scared off the rake with Alex's air horn, because for some reason he had it. The rake is gone now, but they still don't know where Evan is. Evan walks out from the house. His shirt is completely torn and is covered in blood, way more than Vinny is. He has a giant bite mark on one of his arms, and scratches all over his shoulders. The rake attacked Jesse and Evan inside the house, and he says that Jesse's dead. She's gone. Vinny tries to go inside the house and film what's in the house, but Evan won't let him. It tore her to shreds.
That's
There's
suspicious.
nothing left of her.
Mm-hmm.
What's suspicious?
She fucking died in there. Don't go in there, though.
I think it's more suspicious than Vinny's like, there's a dead body, let's film it. More Logan Paul situations going on.
If you, me, and one of our friends were, like, outside of a house, and then we saw one of our other friends in there, and then some crazy shit happens, and he comes out and he's like, shit, don't go in there. She's dead, but, like, don't look.
True, that is suspicious. But, like, they're both suspicious.
Yeah, they're both suspicious, but it's just like...
Yeah.
Also, what happened to, like, reporting stuff to the police? Or,
The
like,
police
the
don't believe them.
FBI or something?
The police don't believe them. They talked about it before. The police were like, stop pranking us. They're like, no, Slender Man's real. Evan's like, we gotta go. Jeff says that. He says Slender Man stopped the rake. They haven't seen Slender Man in months at this point, and Jeff said he heard a siren, and then they were all gone. Vinny thinks that they should upload the footage they got, even though Evan has explicitly told them not to do that. And he thinks everyone deserves to know the whole story. Jeff doesn't really care what they do with the footage. In the video description, it says, we have moral issues with uploading this part of the video, but we decided we should show it. I'm sure you understand, Jesse. We're so sorry.
Hey guys, it's me, as always.
Vinny talks about what just happened. He tries to explain the gap between the last upload and this one. When they were going to Jesse's funeral, something else happened, and nothing happened for a while. No one had the heart to put this video up, but Vinny hasn't talked with Jeff about it at all. Vinny thought that he should upload it soon after they meet to talk about what they should show from it. From how he sounds, it's something worse than what happened so far.
I guess this is sort of the way I grieve now. I just talk to you guys.
This is the video that they agreed upon uploading. Vinny goes to Alex's house to pick him up and drive him to the funeral. As they're driving there, Alex tells Vinny that he's been having a bunch of prophetic dreams for a few weeks. Everything that it tells Alex in the dream happens in real life. It is the rake. The rake never talks, it only barks and growls like a dog. So this is very strange. He tells Alex exactly what happened to Jesse. He doesn't tell anyone else because he thought they were all just dreams until they all started to become really realistic and start actually happening. He originally dismissed it as trauma. He says the rake also told him about the other Everyman Hybrid guys. We see this part of this video from the back seat of the car, but no one's there. Vinny and Alex are the only people in the car at this time. The screen blacks out. Vinny wakes up on a road in the forest. His hands are dirty and covered in black goo. Slender Man is seen in the distance. Alex isn't there. He sees a trash bag with blood and goo coming out of it, hanging from a tree. Then there's a bunch of clips of Alex taken earlier in the series. Alex is dead. Vinny finds his car and runs back to it. The door handle is covered in black goo. We can see Vinny's reflection in the rearview mirror. He doesn't have a beard anymore, and he got a haircut. This is when things start getting really good. This is like my favorite run of videos in the series. I'm very excited about it. Before we get into this, what do you think is going on? Mid-video check-in.
I'm fucking lost.
What do you think's going on?
Alex is dead.
Yes.
Jesse is dead.
Yes.
Evan is fucking weird.
Yes.
Jeff is kind of the most normal, almost. He's also
we'll learn more about Jeff
up,
soon.
But I think obviously they're all being haunted by the rake and by Slender Man, and they're working together. It's kind of like it, how he doesn't kill them. He wants to feed off of them for a while and then kill
That's
them.
a good way to describe that, actually.
You know? Yeah.
All right, but we're about halfway through right now. What do you think's gonna happen?
I feel like Jesse's probably dead because they don't really. There's not a lot of weird stuff about her.
Jessie.
She's kind of just
the one that died 3 videos ago?
I think she's dead. She's not coming back. She's not. There's no resurrection. She wasn't dead the whole time. Well, they don't want her to just see the body, so maybe there is something weird about that.
All right. So keep that in mind as we go forward. They all have things that they want to say on the 2-year anniversary of the channel. Evan goes first. The first thing he says is that he loves Steph. He says he loves her, and he loves both of them because obviously we know Steph's going to have a kid.
Yeah.
He says that he's going to keep fighting for both of them, and that the only good thing that's happened in this whole situation is the two of them And also thanks to the fans, I guess.
I feel like something's gonna happen with that baby.
Then it's Vinny's turn. Vinny says, it seems like half these videos are them teaching people how to work out and pretending that everything's okay, and the other half is getting their asses kicked. Also thanks to the viewers. It says that they have no one besides the viewers, Jeff and Evan, and he needs everyone now more than ever. Then it's Jeff's turn, who looks into the camera and says,
Please just stop watching us.
Habit takes over the video. We see a silhouette holding a knife, clips from the forest as well as a day in a life play, cutting in between each other, and then The Best Is Yet to Come by Frank Sinatra starts playing in the background, while a bunch of really fun clips of Vinny lying on the ground with blood on his glasses, then the scene of Jeff taking all the pills, lying dead on his bedroom floor.
Yeah.
However, we just saw Jeff just now alive.
Then like vitamins.
Then a knife running past pictures of young Vinny and Evan on a table, the front porch of Evan's house, someone walking with their hands covered in blood, Evan's basement. Then the music stops and someone is filming the same porch from before. They walk through the gate and up the stairs. There's a light in the distance. And the description of the video, it's not tagged anybody, unlike the others. And the description says, 3 friends, 2 parents, 2 loved ones, 2 strangers, 2 co-workers, a brother and his dog, and still no resolution.
I have a feeling that this is going to be one of the very few happy moments we'll have.
Vinny is reviewing some of the old footage and articles when Jeff walks downstairs to talk to him. Vinny's going through some old scripts and finds outlines from when they were still just a fitness channel. Jeff gives Vinny a notebook of notes he's taken. Jeff asks if they've been keeping up with the emails and Vinny's been responding to them. The video cuts to Jeff playing with George Unit Rocking Horse. Jeff remembers that Dr. Kornthal said he had a wife, Marianne, who was still alive. Jeff refers to her as the dead end who's not dead, and remembers that he spoke to her earlier in the series. She was the woman from the apartment complex that he went to.
Yeah, when he was like, I do think it's funny. You go to someone and you're like, hey, is this doctor practicing? She's like, he's not practicing anymore. And he's like, can I talk to him? He's dead.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just say, no, he's dead.
They call her apartment complex and they find out that she's moved recently and left a sham address. However, she was going to go to Baldpate because she said she wanted to restore historic homes in the area. The historic homes at the top of Baldpate Mountain. This is a very tangible lead. Jeff and Vinny plan to go there and find her. Vinny tells Jeff to go pick up Evan from his house and immediately travel up there. Vinny also tells Jeff to record Evan's reaction when he tells him the good news, because at least they can have one happy moment.
They should just leave Evan behind. He's got bad vibes. I don't know.
So they go to Evan's house. Well, not they. Jeff goes to Evan's house. And Evan texts Jeff and tells him to enter through the back door. He shows up, the door's unlocked, seemingly no one is there. Jeff walks around Evan's house, calling out to him.
Enter through the back door so no one can see you entering the house when there's a police report.
And as he's walking around, the song I Can't Decide by the Sister starts playing in the background. Real.
Wait.
Fantastic musical selection, by the way, from this series. They also played, earlier I didn't mention it, they played the Rake song by the Decemberists when they first see the Rake. So he says that he's going to leave and go to Vinny's because he's like, you're acting like a child, I don't care. But he goes down to the basement and he finds a piece of paper on the table and it says, don't worry, you won't bleed out, written in all caps. Then the video glitches out, the song skips, so it's a few seconds later, and now Jeff is coughing. We now see the clip of the bloody hand from the last video. It's Jeff's hand, and finds another note that says, told you not to worry. He sees someone else walking around in the basement. He runs upstairs, and the camera turns to black and white. Nick is standing in the kitchen. Even though he's dead, he says, he got you, man. Jeff turns around and grabs for the door, but Evan is standing behind him and grabs him.
I don't trust Evan. I don't trust people named Evan.
He's the most evil Evan that you know.
I've known some pretty evil Evans.
Fucking streetlight just went out. Great start.
Vinny has not seen Jeff in a week or Evan for even longer and decides to just go to Evan's house and see what's up. The house is dark. He goes up to the steps of the front door, but it's locked, so he goes around the back door. Back door is open, the lights are off in the house. He goes inside, he shuts the door behind him, looks around. He whispers for Evan and Jeff, goes into the basement, no one's there. The TV's still on, and there's a knife on the table in front of the TV. He also finds a napkin full of blood. He finds a tarp on the ground with Jeff's shoes, both covered in blood. There's also metal chains lying on the ground. Vinny decides to leave and gets scared by his own reflection in a mirror.
I do that sometimes.
He walks back to the door upstairs, but he hears something else in the house. He walks into another room in Evan's house and opens the door to find Slenderman, goes to the car, and drives away. Box 6 was found by Green Feathers again. He records him actually going to get the box. He got an email from Habit himself with a bunch of coordinates to find this box, and he finds a tree in the forest with a ladder with purple duct tape on it. Some of the rungs have blood on them. To get the box at the top of the tree, as he's climbing, he hears someone shouting at him. It's Evan standing at the bottom of the tree.
Run away.
He says that Green feels pretty clever, being able to find the stash that he left for him.
So Evan's been hiding.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I fucking
He
told
says
you Evan was evil.
That he's there to talk. Greenfeather's box wasn't actually a box, it was a knife. Inside the sheath of the knife was a piece of paper, there was a note, and there was an ink ribbon.
Yeah, well, no, the second you said Evan was there and he said you found my box, Evan is Habit. But Habit is super old, isn't he? Because he's been like,
what did we discuss before about what Habit did?
Habit takes over people's bodies, so Habit took over Evan's body. So Evan is technically Evan, but now he's Habit. So there's no saving him.
So
kill your friend. Sorry.
So yeah, this
childhood friend.
This confirms that Habit's taken over Evan because Habit's the one leaving the boxes, and Evan is saying that he left the box, so that means that it was Habit. It's not a knife, it's actually a sheath with a piece of paper, it's a note, and there's also an ink ribbon in there. Habit wants Greenfeathers to share this information with everyone on the internet. He starts to leave and tells Greenfeathers to keep the knife because when he sees them again, he's going to have one of his own, and he's pretty good with knives.
Cool.
He then walks off into the woods, leaving Greenfeathers very confused, and the contents of the box, like I said, were the knife, the ink ribbon, and a Cornthal letter. This Cornthal letter is from November 12, 1990. Cornthal keeps having night terrors about his dead children. Lenny is the most prominent in all of them. He has recurring dreams that she's in a clearing in the woods, and now she's a full-grown adult. He can't see her face. She's just near a creek holding a letter in her hand. She gets up and travels away from the forest and arrives in an inn. At this point, Cornthal runs out of the building because he's like in the dream, and she sees the sign says Logan Inn on the building. Lenny is now floors above him. She screams, knowing something's coming to get her, and it's too late. She whispers, "I'm sorry," and Dr. Cornthal wakes up. He goes in real life to the Logan Inn and speaks to everyone there, but no one can recall seeing someone like her being there. He says he thinks that maybe Lenny's still alive. This didn't happen, and he wants to know who she was looking for. The ink ribbon. The rabbits who participated in the extra inning trials got ink ribbons as well that completed his. So he got the first half, they got the second half. So the ink ribbons.
This would have been so cool to be a part of.
Yeah, my parents would not have let me.
Yeah,
if I was like,
I would have given these strangers
my
address.
My parents would not let me give the strangers our address. They'd be like, what is this random box?
Give them your neighbor's address. Then they don't know where you live.
They think there's a bomb at their house. I don't know. It's a journal entry for Dr. Cornthal. He recalls Jeff running in and screaming in the middle of the night that Steph's dead. However, she's not and sleeping in her bed now at the time of him writing this. He thinks that he should be weaning her off her medications. He's saying he ran upstairs to find Steph cold and blue with Evan sitting in the corner with wide eyes. He rushes her to the emergency room and eventually found out that she had taken too much of her daily medications. He's unsure as this happens. Everything's incredibly routine around their house. She's distanced herself from the family significantly. She rarely talks to Evan, who was her best friend. Dr. Cornthal, he asks Evan what he thinks about it, and he smirks and he says it's probably for the best that she stays quiet. He asks what he meant. He says, so she won't overdose again. Vinny goes and plays in the yard to deflect, and Jeff has been watching this whole conversation from the stairwell. Jeff says that he wishes that they would have been able to help her.
I have no game plan. I was going to say all my game plan is, but there's nothing.
Vinny does not let the fact that both Jeff and Evan have seemingly been missing for like a month at this point stop him from following up on the lead that he had. So he goes to Ballpaint Mountain to go find these historic homes that Marianne Cornthal was trying to renovate. He goes inside one of the houses. He has no idea what he's doing. He has no plan. He's just kind of there. He walks around. It's completely dark inside. He goes, finds a light switch, turns on the lights, and now he's in his bathroom. There is no time skip between the two clips. He is now just in his bathroom. When he turns around and opens the closet door, it's not his closet, it's Jeff's pantry. It's like someone cut the two rooms together and glued them, and they became one. He opens the door out of the bathroom, and now he's in Jeff's basement. He sees Alex Airhorn on the ground and hears Alex's voice calling for him. Then he goes up the stairs out of the basement and is still in Jeff's house. The door is locked from the outside and he can't leave. He tries to go upstairs to the second floor and hears Alex call out for Vinny again. It's still dark, and he goes into another room and he ends up in Evan's second-story hallway and bathroom.
I've had dreams like that where it's like you go out one room and
you're in a different room in your
something
house.
that makes no sense.
Yes, I've had so many dreams about being parts of my house that aren't real and there's another family there.
I would have dreams that I was in this mansion that was impossibly big. It's like you're in a room this size and then you open the next and it's a fucking cathedral and you're like, okay, yeah, sure.
So that's kind of what was happening here. He goes into the bathroom and a weird sound starts playing along with a baby's laughter from another room, and then he shuts the door. The video glitches out and suddenly someone's knocking on the door. Then he's behind a shower curtain. He pulls away the shower curtain and he's in his own bathroom again. Through that door, he's in Emma's hallway and he sees Slenderman at the bottom of the stairs. Vinny runs.
Oh yeah, Slenderman.
yeah, Slenderman's here too, and he runs towards him, but he trips on the stairs. He wakes up in his own basement. He walks around, turns around the corner, finds a painting made by Steph that wasn't there before. He walks further and finds a computer playing the first Everyman Hybrid Morse code video on it. He realizes that he's in Steph's apartment. He turns around and he's in his basement again, turns back around, now he's on some stairs. He walks down and now he's in Evan's basement. He walks around down there for a while until he finds paper on the floor. He walks past the TV and sees the entire group, including himself, talking and having a meeting of some sort. This part is in black and white. TV watching Vinny turns around, points the camera at the Vinny that we're watching with the camera, and Vinny runs up the stairs. out of the basement. He's back in Evan's hallway, and Slender Man is standing at the end of the hallway. And then he tries to open one of the doors, but it's locked. Suddenly, someone from inside the door opens the door, grabs him, and pulls him inside. And now he's outside. Now he's in a garden. This place is a new place we haven't seen before, and it's part of the Candleverse. The man that brings Vinny out of there, puts him on a bench, sits him down, explains that he created this place out of sheer willpower in the middle of the universe of the monsters. This man is Dr. Cornthal that we've seen before. He tells Vinny that this place is not safe from the entities and they can still get in. They're after Vinny. Dr. Cornthal refers to Vinny as his son and refers to a sister and brother of Vinny's helping keep this place safe. Dr. Cornthal brings him back to the room in Evan's house. He tells Vinny to run the other way when he sees the creatures. Then, I'm going to look at you dead in the eyes when I say this, he opens the door and shoots Slender Man with a gun. He just takes out a gun.
He shoots who?
Slender Man. He shoots Slender Man with a gun.
That's all it took?
He's not dead, but it's what he does. And then they're both outside. And Baldpate Mountain, right outside the house Vinny was just in. Dr. Cornthal tells him that he's safe there and just walks off.
Like,
alright.
How is he not, he's dead, but he's like making places?
Yeah.
That
but
makes
now things get really interesting. Habit is now in full control of Evan's body. He is now in a new house, a new location that we have not seen before. He starts at the bottom of some steps, pointing upstairs with a knife, walks up the stairs slowly, and someone is recording him, so we don't know who it is. He goes and he breaks down a door, telling whatever is outside the door holding the camera to wait outside. A few minutes later, it resumes. The cameraman goes inside to find Habit standing over a table full of knives and other weapons arranged. He then brings them over to a small door that leads into an attic space next to the room. He then mentions that there are some squatters living in there, but they don't really matter. They're going to get taken care of soon. Habit instructs the cameraman to film whatever's going to happen in the room, pointing the camera at a kiddie chair where Jeff is going to be sitting, as well as making sure that the floodlight stays on at all times. Again, this video is in all caps, meaning that Habit was the one that posted this.
Can I come in?
Like the smiley face emoticon. This is probably the most gory video out of all of the ones that have been posted on this channel. It's also, I think, their most viewed video. So the video starts off black and white videos of Jeff and Evan hanging out, and then Jeff sitting in that kiddie chair from the last video. Habit walks in with a knife. Jeff acknowledges the cameraman, asking what it is, and Habit's like, I don't really know. Well, like, whatever. Habit apologizes to Jeff for being taken out of the game so early, saying he was close to some big clue. And he said that he was trying. That's what Habit likes about Jeff, that he's a thinker and that he's smart and he's resourceful. Slenderman hates that. He says that Evan is just an idiot that runs into danger and Vinny's a leader trying to keep everyone safe. But Jeff is the smart one. And that's not all there is to Jeff, and that's why they can't let him live. The reason that Habit has been waiting for so long is because he wanted to take everything away from Jeff before he killed him. Killing all of his friends and his family was Slenderman's attempt to break Jeff, since he can't get to Jeff and control him for some reason like he can to other people. Kind of like what he was talking about with the whole thing with Alex. Where they're like, you can go after Alex, but not if we're there.
I would break so easy. All he has to do, kill one of my pets. I'd be like, alright, it's time for me to die next, guys.
Something about Jeff just fights off Slenderman, but Habit's going to kill him now. Throughout this video, it cuts back and forth between Jeff's torturer and Habit talking to him. First of which is Habit wrapping his arms with chains. And we see a clip of Jeff lying on the floor with his head getting smashed by a hammer. Back to the attic, Habit keeps talking. He says the reason that Habit wants to kill Jeff now is that he's super impatient, and Jeff does not seem fazed by this at all. He seems to know that Habit is the one talking and not Evan. We see another clip of Jeff being tortured, and Habit is choking him while he's covered in blood. In the attic again, Jeff asks what's left for Habit to take from him. Habit says people always think that when they have nothing left they can fight forever, but that doesn't matter. They have nothing to hide. Not even God can hide from him. There we see another clip of Habit. He's in the corner of the room and he's cutting up something or someone we can't really see. Then Jeff coughing up blood onto the floor. Back to the attic, Jeff curses at Habit, and Habit asks why he said that. Habit says that it's funny that people say that. He says that he's tortured millions of people, and they all do the exact same thing. Curse when there's nothing left to do. Then it cuts to another video of Jeff bleeding out on the floor. Habit keeps talking. Curses a spit in the eye, but it doesn't matter. The last dying breath of these people doesn't matter. Habit asks if Jeff is ready, because things are about to get a lot more fun in here. And the description of the video says, yup, he's dead.
What the fuck?
I know, I was gonna warn you about that.
Back at Vinny's house, he got a disturbing video from Evan in an email. Vinny was unsure if he should open the video, but he did it anyways. He knows that he's next. The video plays. He sees Habit driving to the house from before, while That's Life by Frank Sinatra playing in the background. The video is crawling with people, seemingly in a trance, and Habit kills all of them. We see a video of Evan and Steph, then Habit wearing a ridiculous outfit of a, like, fedora and a ridiculously patterned, like, Hawaiian shirt.
So he's like one of those Redditor guys.
He looks like a
It's
Discord mod. He's outside of Jeff's shed. He takes out some gasoline and lighter fluid from in there. Then there's another segment, Habit kills another one of their friends, Daniel, but it's edited to look like an old sitcom. And we see a clip from outside in the woods behind a house. There's a bloody axe and a fallen tree. Then we see someone walk up to Evan's house and walk inside, but the video is incredibly distorted. Then we see Beth lying almost dead in her bedroom. Habit is behind her and his arms are bloody and he's holding something in his arms. He tells Steph, quote, I know you want to die, but you're not going to. Not yet. Not until you hear her break. More footage from the woods. People are talking in the background. And it's Habit. He's kneeling over Jeff's body, who is somehow still alive and moving. He leaves Jeff alone, who starts to crawl away, but Habit lets him because he says he won't make it very far. Habit says he's going to have to burn Jeff alive to finally kill him. He asks the cameraman if Slenderman is watching. We see Habit take a bunch more gasoline from the shed. He lights a match, and we see a video of Jeff smiling, like in black and white film.
Is he still wearing the fedora and the hat?
Yes, he's still wearing that outfit as he's doing this. Jeff is now dead. Habit leaves
R.I.P.
Jeff's dead body for him, Slenderman, to deal with, and then the screen says, begin final act.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
This is my favorite video from the entire series. It is fantastic, and I recommend everyone watch it. If you click out of this video right now, watch it, and then come back. It starts with a clip of Habit stabbing someone who's off screen. He is still in the house from before. Then we now see Evan. It's Evan now, lying asleep. He wakes up and grabs the camera. He has no idea where he is or what he's doing there. He's trying to open the front door, but he can't. I'm going to see if I can recount the events of this entire video without looking at this. Okay. He can't open the door. He tries really hard, and he literally falls backwards. He runs around the house looking. The windows are all closed. He looks, and he sees that he's in a town. There's food in the fridge. People have been here. He goes, and he's looking around, and he's like, people are here. People are, whose house is this? Whose house is this? He goes, and he sees, oh, there's my hat on the stairs. He goes, tries to reach it. No, it's not that. He has a different hat. And he tries to grab it, but he stops. He goes, why does that feel familiar? It cuts in the clip of Habit standing on the stairs exactly where he was. He says, why does that feel familiar, and why does it not feel good? He goes up the stairs, and he goes, I was here. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Frantically running around the house, opening doors upstairs until he see flashes of the moving in video. And so he's gaining back the memories. He doesn't remember what he was doing there or what happened. Eventually, he makes it into that bedroom room, and he finds a hammer on the floor. He picks it up, and he's like, good, I have a weapon. And he touches the door to the attic, and he falls backwards, and he's like, I remember you. I remember screaming, I remember blood, but not much. And he puts the camera down, and he says, you don't get to see anything. He walks into the room, then the audio cuts out, and then he falls back, falls to the ground, starts violently sobbing, like hitting the ground, like visibly, like emotionally destroyed. And that goes on for like probably 2 minutes. The video cuts to a later time. He's sitting against the door, and Evan recounts what happens. He says, I can remember it like it was a dream, where you get all the pieces when you're not sure if they're the right ones. He says, I remember Jeff. I remember him begging. I remember Steph. I remember her crying. Then he says, I remember my baby. I remember her bones against my teeth.
He eats his baby? I feel like something's gonna happen with that baby.
He says, I can remember the fire. Jeff governed to death. I can remember this house. There were people who lived there. They don't matter anymore. Just people. He says that he can remember what he was saying in here and out to them. He can remember what he was feeling. He was scared. He can remember what they looked like in there, talking about the attic room. And he says that she was like decorations on the wall. She's everywhere. On the ceiling, on the cross, there's just so much. And he is gone. Charred, boiled flesh. All the life is gone. No more light. No more thinking. No more remembering. Then he says that he's going to kill himself the next day. He's going to go into the woods, and he's going to find it, the rake. He's going to find it crawling and digging through the dirt, and he's going to attack it. Or it'll attack him, and they'll die. Or he'll die, bloody, in pain, and fighting. And he says, nothing more than I deserve, because this monster has had enough, referring to himself, and the video ends. Okay, I was too warm. They were too cold. Now we're in different outfits.
I was too warm. I was too warm.
What the fuck?
Vinny records the video in his kitchen where he hears a strange noise coming from there. He notices a knife is out of place in his kitchen, like knife holder thing. And the lights turn off, and suddenly all the knives are out on the table. And there's a hard drive on the sink. He takes it, runs away, hyperventilates for a little bit, but then he's like, let me play this video. So he plays it, and it's a video from Evan. Evan is in the house, and he has his hammer with him. He's like, I'm going to use this to break the window, and I'm going to break out of this house. He goes downstairs, and he sees the front door is open. It was locked before, but now it's just open. He then opens there's like the 2 doors, so he opens the other one, the other one is open. He talks to the air, addressing Habit as if he can hear it, saying that Habit just wanted him to see what happened to Jeff and Steph, and that's it. He then opens the door and leaves. Evan drives to the forest to go find the rake. This footage is captured by one of the things that Habit has following him around, most likely, because it's from the backseat of the car. Then Evan is driving, and on the radio is the song Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra. He keeps turning it off. It keeps turning back on.
In my mind, I'm imagining Slenderman in the back, like, with an iPhone, like, recording him, and then he's like, alright, I gotta edit this, guys.
No, like, when does Habit have the time to edit this? He's, like, torturing people. He's like, pouring the gasoline, he's like, I need to
Alright, guys, what music should I add
Let me go to my iCloud library.
Oh, fuck, I didn't mean to clip that part. Back. Delete.
So, by the time they get to the woods, Evan is there. He is putting his weapons around. I want you to take a guess as to how many weapons he has on or around his person. Give me a number. I counted.
I feel like they keep saying the number 7, but that seems too small. 1, 2,
a belt
3, 4.
in his hands, and he's throwing things into the ground, into the trees.
That's like that scene, you know the scene where Elizabeth Swann, they're like, give us your guns, and she's
like... Yeah, all of them.
Belt, undershirt. She's like, wait, there's one more.
Yeah. The thing that's filming him from the back of the car is now, like, hiding behind a bush looking at him. Whenever Evan looks towards him, he's, like, hiding under it because he doesn't want to know it's there. And then you can hear the rake growling in the back, and Evan gets ready to attack him. In the video description, Vinny writes, they're all gone.
He's embarrassing me.
The next video's title is in French. L'esprit de l'esclair. Sorry, French people. Sorry about that. That was probably...
What does that mean?
It means the spirit of the stairs, but also is an expression meaning thinking of the perfect reply when it's too late. So, Evan has been outside Vinny's house for 2 hours now and has been knocking the door. He's wearing a different ridiculous hat and outfit. He's wearing a different Hawaiian shirt, but his hat is the Haunter, like the cartoon character. Like it's like an animated character hat.
Like, wait, like this hat?
Outfit change again.
Like this hat?
Kind of. Vinny tries to call the cops, but the calls don't go through, which is not how 911's supposed to work. He brings a heavy wrench to the door and lets Evan in. Evan says that he is embarrassing him. Vinny asks him if he knows what he's done. He's seen all the videos of their dead friends. Evan says, do I look like it? Do I look like I just spent a month murdering all of my friends?
Yeah. Probably.
Vinny tells him to back away. Evan asks if it looks like he suffered at all. That anything has changed. Vinny said no. Except for his outfit, Evan says that he put on these ridiculous clothes when he was in control. Vinny is confused as to what he's talking about. At this point, Vinny doesn't know
that he's got like a...
He doesn't know much about Habit at all, actually. Like, at this point, all Vinny knows about Habit is the 7 Trials of Habit stuff.
Yeah, I feel
That's
like
really
Vinny is kind of behind on all the lore.
He's really behind. Evan says it doesn't matter what he did. He talks about what happened in the woods. He said he met the rake and they fought. He said he held his head in its hands and it gnashed at him and it ripped his intestines out. But he's still alive. No scars, no nothing. Nothing heals like that. He talks about the scars that were on his arm from before. They're completely gone. Evan says that it won't let him go. And Evan says that he's tried to keep Vinny safe, but it seems like it's too late now. Vinny says he's pretty sure he's not going to let any of them go. This isn't about you, Vinny. At this point, you're going to see that I'm kind of a Vinny hater.
Vinny just seems like a side character.
He's the main character.
But he just, like, I don't know.
He acts like a side character. I don't know why.
We're not learning anything, and I feel like we're just sitting ducks at this point.
There's Vinny in his basement. He checks to make sure that Evan isn't walking down the stairs, and Vinny says that he's had a crazy idea, and he wants the feedback from the fans before he goes through with it. They've hit a dead end, and they aren't going anywhere with their investigation, so Vinny wants to... What do you think? What is the craziest thing you can think of right now for Vinny to want to do?
To, like, figure more stuff out?
He's asking the fans, this is my idea, what do you think his idea is?
Audience participation, like...
He's gonna ask to summon Habit into Evan's body on purpose. He says, at least he's the only one who talks.
Also, how do you know how to do that?
He doesn't know. He does not know. In the description, he says, it's been 3 years tonight. I just need someone to tell me that I'm doing the right thing.
No.
The only reason I picked it up was because some jackass employee sent me down to the wrong aisle.
Then he says when he was looking at an old bookstore, he found a very old book that contains the instructions to summon a specific entity from wherever they are and bring them directly to you. Other things in this book are crossed out and other things are in it instead. He's going to use it to summon Habit.
So, if you have a creature that's, like, manipulating the stuff around you and giving you little boxes and clues and all this stuff and also
you should bring him there
before,
immediately.
And then you're like, maybe I should summon him. And then you coincidentally find a book telling you exactly how to summon it. isn't that a little too convenient?
Yes.
And maybe this thing is like, oh my gosh, yeah, you should totally, like, summon me. That'll fix everything. Why is he so stupid?
How are you? You doing good? Feeling sassy?
Vinny's going to summon Habit. It seems like Evan is okay with this. For the ritual, they needed some weird stuff such as an exotic headdress and traditional garb. The exotic headdress is the Pokemon hat that Evan was wearing. And the traditional garb is one of those, like, sweater. I don't know what. I'll show a picture of it. It's one of these. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Evan doesn't want to wear it. Vinny tells Evan the instructions. He has to stand on one leg and take the other hand, hold his fist out for an hour and 7 minutes. So he has to stand like this. With the book.
There's no fucking
for
way.
an hour and 7 minutes. Exactly. Vinny says that he'll be right there when he gets back. Evan says Vinny's the only person he has left. He gives Vinny his pocket knife just for, like, safekeeping.
But
And
he
then
still has 13 other weapons.
yeah, he still has a million other ones. He's fine. So then it cuts to Vinny in the house where we see Habit before during the other videos. There's music playing from upstairs and the whole lighting is very green for some reason. Vinny goes upstairs where the railings are covered in bandages. He goes into one of the bedrooms. Habit is sitting there listening to music and reading. He greets Vinny, asks if the book worked. He's like, did you follow the instructions I wrote for you? Stand on one leg for an hour and 7 minutes. He looked stupid. He says Vinny's the most stupid, though, because Evan is already broken, but Vinny's still mostly all there. He says that why would the person who suffered the least, besides Lexi, come looking for him? Vinny says he's the only one that can talk and he's looking for answers. Habit says,
why is that a bad idea? Habit, this is why it's a bad idea.
I'm gonna die.
Yes.
He says he's gonna break his arms and then his legs and then disembowel him and let him bleed out slowly. And Habit says that Vinny's so stupid he doesn't even get a fun death. He wonders why Vinny isn't running or trying to fight him. He likes that Vinny's like straight on this one path, like he doesn't have any other motives, he just wants to do this one thing. And he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna kill you. Habit says he needs someone like that because his only friends are a deformed dog thing and a stick in the mud. Which is what he calls Slender Man. So Habit's gonna keep him around for a while, let him live, show him some stuff that he wouldn't believe about this world. He's gonna do it because he respects Vinny's resolve, and then he leaves Vinny in the house and tells him he's gonna go out and have some fun. And he tells Vinny to stay there because they might have guests.
Vinny's kinda...
Now Vinny's made a deal with the devil.
Yeah. And he's just like, okay, that's chill. You killed all of my friends, but, like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hang.
Maybe somewhere else.
Well, I've looked everywhere.
Okay, well, you haven't. That's a lie.
Lexi, if we don't remember, is that girl from the library that Vinny dated. That's a lot of characters.
That's a lot.
Habit and Vinny are now inside her. How's Habit recording?
Is he gonna sacrifice her or something?
No, remember what happened? They went to her house, they couldn't find her anywhere.
Yeah.
There was black goop in the sink. Probably already dead at this point. He's making Vinny look under her bed for some notes. He finds them in her pillowcase. On the notes, it mentions a man who's following her, a man in a black suit with no face, and no one seems to notice him. She never mentions it to Vinny. One note mentioned that she found a camera, and Vinny asked if it was Habit since he bugged his house. Habit says that it may or may not have been him, but that's not important. What's important is that they were there in the first place. They must have been there for a reason. She was being hunted by the same thing that hunted Vinny, and Vinny says that he thinks it's his fault. Habit says that in essence it is his fault, but not entirely. It's not his fault because he wanted to socialize and have fun, and someone got caught in the crossfire. Habit asked what he saw when Vinny and Evan were here last time. He said they found something in the sink. Habit said it was definitely a trademark of Slender Man, the black goop in the sink. He asked Vinny why he went after her. It's because she was an outsider like Jessa. Vinny and the other guys are insiders. It's easier to get to people on the outside because being on the inside is why Vinny is useful for what Habit wants him to do. Habit says that there's something special about Vinny. He is the Guardian. Remember from before with the Everyman play, there's 3 roles, the Guardian, the Voyeur, and the Firebird. He says, you're the Guardian.
Galaxy.
He says he's the helper, and there's something about Vinny that the monsters, including Habit, can't mess with. Habit says there are people who are going to die, and it'll either be his fault or the monster's fault. Vinny has to learn to be okay with the deaths of all these people because they're going to be alive, or he'll just end up being one of them.
I feel like Vinny's special little power is just he's so stupid that they're like, we can't even psychologically torture this guy because there's nothing up there. You're just stupid. And, like, your friends were all smart and trying to figure this out, so they were a threat, and they're like, this guy is so dumb, he's not even a threat. Like, we'll just leave him alone.
Hey guys, it's tomorrow. It took us 4 hours to do everything up until this point, and then we still didn't get it done, and then it was like 8 o'clock at night, and so we had to go not film a YouTube video. But we're back now.
How are you?
Not very good.
Yeah, well, the economy.
So now we're going to talk about Tribe 12 again, because for some reason he keeps popping up. So the guy from Tribe 12 gets an envelope in the mail with purple duct tape on it and a picture of like the little haunter guy, and it's from Habit, obviously. It's a really fancy letter being like, I see that you're having trouble with your Slenderman situation, and I'm here to help. And then the guy's like, actually no, I don't do deals with terrorists. I don't want to hang out with you, I don't want you to help me, leave me alone. But that's not gonna happen. He finds a note on a door that says, open it, and who's there? He falls through like a hole in the door and gets like pulled through. And now he's in the house that we see Habit filming in for the past couple videos. And in front of him is Habit sitting at a table. There's a whiteboard with a bunch of drawings on it. Some of it's tic-tac-toe, some of it is recipes for cooking people meat. Habit tells him not to worry because Slenderman can't get him here. He also, if you look at Habit, his face is covered in blood. Habit says that there's a reason that he brought him here. Part of this, there's a different story that's not important. But what is important is that one of the things that Habit does is talk about symbols. Now, there's a very important symbol to Tribe 12, but this also applies to Everyman Hybrid. And what it is that there are symbols that have meaning. And all you have to do is you have to draw them and you have to put the meaning into it. It doesn't have to be 100%, it doesn't have to be exactly right. But as long as you put the meaning and the general in the ballpark of how to draw these symbols, then you're good. Also, at one point, he opens a random door in the house and there's a guy in the bathroom spitting up blood into his sink. And he's like, how did that guy get there? I don't even know who that is. Shuts the door. Apparently, people come in and out of this house very frequently. At the end, he's like, that's all I need to tell you. Bye. And he's like, I don't know where I am. I don't know how I got here. It's like, well, that's your problem. Bye-bye.
Yeah, let's run from him in his own house.
It's basically a continuation of that video, picking up right where it left off. Doesn't really know what's going on. He's in New Jersey somewhere. His phone is all messed up. He gets a random text saying, find the bridge before they do. Wanders around aimlessly, teleports all over the place, walking in one door, coming out another, coughing up blood. Habit is following him this entire time. And eventually he does get to the bridge. Before Habit gets there, Jeff runs up to him. And Jeff tells him, don't listen to Habit. The only way out of the situation is to end it. And then runs off.
And Jeff is dead, isn't
Jeff
he?
is famously dead at this point.
So he's a ghost. And he's telling people to off themselves?
Yeah, he just literally runs up and is like,
you just
gotta end it.
Gotta
Bye.
end it, bro.
So Habit then starts talking, and he's like, don't listen to Jeff, because where they are right now, it's not on any map. It's a different place.
The candle place.
Yeah, they're in the monster universe. And he says that he wants the Tribe 12 guy to do what Habit says, because it's what's best for both of them if they listen to Habit. You just gotta listen to him. Just gotta do what he says, and everything will be fine. And then he says he just wants to go home, and Habit's like, I can make that happen. And he kicks him, and he falls back through the door into his original house.
Where do you keep your friends, Vinny? Close to your...
The title is French, and it means a small snack. This video is being recorded by Vinny. A guy named Mark is in his house, and he doesn't know why he's there. Vinny tells him that it's okay. Mark seems to know who Vinny is, but Vinny doesn't know who Mark is. Mark says that he just wanted to help Vinny, and then Habit walks in. It seems like Vinny brought Mark to his house for Habit. Habit puts something in Vinny's pocket, which is a bunch of cards. It was the cards that were found in the box that Mark found. He says that he's found this box to help Vinny, and Habit laughs at him for this. Habit asks if it was worth it, and Mark says no. He then kills Mark, and Vinny stands there holding the camera, doing absolutely nothing.
Want me to read it out loud?
I guess.
He's the first course in French. This video starts with old footage of Evan and Jeff at Baldpate Mountain that we haven't seen before. It's a conversation where Jeff is telling a story to Evan about how one time he got a parking ticket, and he went to a police station to go pay it, but when he went there was no one at the police station, and there's always supposed to be people at the police station at all times. The video then cuts to Vinny, who's looking around for something. He seems to thinks is Habit sitting in a hallway counting, and then he realizes it's not Habit anymore. It's Evan. Habit has kind of gone away for a little bit. Evan doesn't remember a lot of what happened past the summoning. He says that he knows Habit has hurt so many people during this time. He also has a note in his pocket for Vinny from Habit. The note says, look on Evan's back, and he's like, what? So Evan, lifts the back of his shirt, and written in purple Sharpie on his back says, Vinny, do you remember the name of your grandfather? And so they're both like, oh, this must be some sort of clue, maybe it's a password to something, because over this whole time, obviously, Habit's been putting cryptic stuff all over the internet. But then he's like, okay, Vinny, what's the name of your grandfather? And he's like, I don't remember. He doesn't remember anything about his grandfather, really. He then asks Evan if Evan remembers his parents. Evan says he can't remember his parents. Vinny asks Evan if he can remember what his house looks like. So Evan starts describing his house, and he goes, yeah, you go, and you turn, and then you go up that little landing. He's like, no, you're describing my house. He's like, no, that's not your house. And then your house goes like this. And then Evan starts describing his own house. Vinny stops him, and he's like, no, that's not true. And tells him about his encounter during the video of the property when all the houses were like mashed up together. Evan's like, oh, so this gotta be some sort of teleporting trick, like Slender Man or Habits doing something and they're teleporting us from place to place so we're forgetting. And then Vinny says, no, it was not a teleporting trick, because it's all one house. It's always been one house. And he knows this because none of this was real. He doesn't know how he knows that, but he knows that everything in their life is fake.
Like their childhood is fake?
Just everything, literally everything. He's like, no, it's all been one house.
You can see him, but he's not actually a person.
The next two videos are another one of like the same video from two different perspectives from two different channels. So one of the channels is EverymanHYBRID, and the other is ML Anderson. ML Anderson is yet another Slenderman creepypasta series that was going on at the same time. From the side of ML Anderson, what happens is that the character Sean gets in his car and he gets a letter with instructions about how to end this. His brother is missing at this point. He arrives at the house, Habit's house. Inside the house, Vinny offers him some tea, and he says that there are things that are happening to Sean and Sean's brother that are also happening to him, and he has a way that he can help, and he also has a partner that can help him. And Sean asks if he can meet this partner, and Vinny says no, because this partner isn't actually a person, it's like a thing inside of another person. And before he can explain any further, Sean passes out, and Vinny then repeats, I'm not a bad person, I'm not a bad person, over and over and over. From the EverymanHYBRID perspective, we see a little bit more of this, because after this happens, Vinny passes out as well. We also see, before this, Vinny making the tea in the kitchen in the house, meaning that Vinny poisoned Sean.
Hello? Hello?
Posted on the ML Anderson channel. So this is a very similar situation to what happened in the D smiley face video on EverymanHYBRID. Now instead of Jeff, it's Sean. Sean is being tortured and killed in the attic of Habit's house. It's mostly Habit's taunting him, being like, you were trying to find your brother, but you're never gonna find your brother, and now I gotta kill you. But during this, Vinny is standing, and he's recording from one angle. One of those, the cameramen that we don't really know who they are, is recording from another angle, and Sean's calling out to Vinny. He's like, Vinny, do something. You're standing right there, and you're watching this. You gotta do something. And he's like, I can't do it. After all that, Vinny now starts to get a little bit upset with Habit and what's going on. He goes back up to the attic to find bloodstains all over the place, and he finds Habit sitting there. He's like, Vinny, why are you filming so much? He's like, this is what keeps me sane, to make these videos. They also asks where Sean is, and Habit picks up a chainsaw that's on the floor, and he says,
Did you know that I named him Rex?
Fuck this.
The chainsaw, not Sean.
And then Vinny leaves. Habit catches him at the door. He says that he's wondering why they're doing all of this, why he keeps having to bring Habit people to kill. Habit says that there's a reason for each one of them. One of them was a lesson, Mark. One of them was bait, Sean, because for ML Anderson purposes, that was to draw out his brother, but that's not important. And he says that there's going to be a lot more, and the only way that they're going to win is if they keep doing this. And Vinny says that he would rather die himself than cause someone else to die after at least 2 people have died.
Because of him.
Because of him.
Also,
Probably more than we don't know. We don't know. Habit hasn't really explained himself to us. Vinny tries to leave, but the door's locked. Habit opens the door for him, and as Vinny's leaving, Habit knocks him on the head, and the cameraman thing drags his unconscious body inside the house, and then Habit mocks Vinny angrily, calling him a rabbit.
He made maple bacon cookies, and I need to try them. They're good.
Vinny is locked in Jeff's room with a countdown on TV for 1 day from then. There is some food and drinks for Vinny and a note telling him to throw out his trash. He has no idea what the countdown is for. After a couple of hours, Vinny takes a look back on his life. He thinks that he's going to die when the countdown ends, and he says he would give anything to go back in time and not do what he did. Maybe it would make a difference, maybe it wouldn't. He eventually finds that there's a note in the trash can. It says, hi, find my friend and we can help you, with a clip for a gun. After a while tearing apart Jeff's room, he finds another note which says, watch me ASAP, on a USB. There's nothing to play it on in the room, so he can't really do anything about it. He finds the actual gun, loads it, and he tries to get some sleep, but he can't. Vinny then says, if anyone ever sees this video, just keep surviving no matter what and keep going. He hopes that whatever happens at the end of the timer kills him.
You wanna play video games? Sure.
In the description, Vinny writes that he thinks he has regained all control over the channel for the time being and that Evan is staying with him for a while. Vinny is now somewhere new that we haven't seen before, and he's using his laptop, and Evan is there with him. Evan asks what he's doing. Vinny said he's editing footage. Both of them are not okay visibly. Vinny says that he doesn't feel anything anymore, and he doesn't know why he's doing anything that he's doing. Evan is in worse shape. He says he doesn't know where he ends and Habit begins anymore. Vinny says at least Evan has someone controlling him and he knows it, and Vinny has been in control of himself this whole time, and people have died because of him. Evan and him played some video games together. The screen goes black for a while, and then there's a clip of Vinny urging the viewers to stop watching.
You have to stop. You have to stop watching.
In this clip, Vinny has a lisp, and he says he doesn't know much, but we just have to stop watching him. It doesn't really seem like Vinny. And then he says, stop watching for our own sake.
Maybe this is my heaven. Maybe I could just stay here forever.
Vinny is at some apartment complex. He's trapped there and he can't leave. Evan has left since that last video. Months have gone by. He thinks that he's going to die in this apartment. One day he sees Slender Man outside of his window. It's the closest he's been in a while. Vinny thinks he's losing his mind. In the next clip, Vinny's saying one long sentence, but it's cut in between different places and different outfits, but it all sounds like one continuous sentence. He also has a nose ring and a haircut for some reason. He recounts what happened after the events of the Blue Room. He woke up in a field near the apartments he's in now with a set of keys in his pocket. He's chased inside by 3 people in hoods. Evan shows up later and stays for a week and then leaves. He can't make any phone calls, he can't open the doors, he can't open the windows, and the internet is limited. In the description of the video, it says, I'm finally able to reach out. The internet in the apartment seems to be unlocked now. Still unable to edit the footage from the night at Jeff's, but working on it tonight.
Yes, I'm eating tonight.
Part 2 was released a day later on the 24th. Vinny now comments on his nose ring. He says that someone must be coming in to help him since his fridge and cabinet's keeper is stocking with food that he isn't buying because he can't leave.
And giving him piercings.
And giving him a nose piercing. And giving him haircuts. We see that Vinny has now found out about Alex's old YouTube channel and thinks that Jeff wanted him to find the videos. He finds out that Alex has been experiencing a similar situation to him. Vinny also says he's overheating because now there's no AC.
First it was the couch yesterday. Now it's everything else.
Furniture seems to be disappearing from his apartment and the food is running out. The plumbing has gone out, so he has to use jars. Really gross. Then the AC comes back on and now it's freezing. He can hear people talking outside in the walls, but there's no more food. Whoever was bringing the food just stopped. We see the video of Vinny looking through old books. He's not drank real water in a while, and now all his furniture is gone. He asks why he couldn't have just died in the Blue Room. He wanted to leave. And then Vinny says that he's figured out what Habit wanted him to find in the apartment, and the video ends.
Fucking stop. What do you want? Someone's in a mood.
The title is a reference to how many days it has been since the first video was posted on the EverymanHYBRID channel. Vinny wakes up in the same place where he watched Alex die. He's next to his car and starts walking through the woods. He gets to a road and starts following it. He then starts running from something. And then Habit shows up and starts talking to him. He finds a table in the woods with an axe and a knife and a note that says, "Kill me before I kill you," smiley face, from Habit. Vinny tells Habit to leave him alone because he's done. He's not really scared of Habit anymore because he hasn't really hurt Vinny. He says he's doing all of this for the sake of it, and now it's just getting old. He's hurt everyone else, but he hasn't hurt Vinny. He continues on the road. Habit says that he's right, that this is the end, and Vinny asks him to kill him. We find out that this conversation is not actually happening as the video we're seeing. It's a voiceover from later. So all the clips that we see in this video are from a previous time.
So he's doing a voiceover, like...
So the montage that we're seeing of him running through the woods right now is from... it's sometime earlier. He's making this video and doing the voiceover in post. So everything that's... Remember this. Everything that we're seeing in this video happened before. Habit tries to track down Vinny to kill him like Vinny was doing, but Habit watched him and how he proceeded, and he said Vinny was good at it. He kept track of where he was, he watched his back, and even when he had the chance to go after Habit, he chose to run away. Then we see a clip from Vinny's basement, but like not really of anything in the back to the forest. Habit says they are ready for war. Now Vinny's back in the basement again. He asks Habit what he wants, and now there's dolls hanging from the ceiling and the lights are all dim. And he says Habit doesn't do that, that's a Slender Man thing. As he reaches for the dolls, Evan appears in the middle and then he disappears. Then he runs up the stairs and finds the knife. Vinny tries to leave, but the door is stuck. And the video glitches to see Slender Man. He's in a different house now, and the security camera's footage shows him walking around. And then back in the forest, Vinny asks Habit what war. Habit says that they're going to take the fight to Slender Man. He's got a plan, but he needs Vinny's help. Vinny says that they've tried to stop Slender Man, but they can't. It's impossible because Slender Man is a god. And Habit says,
any creature could walk into the throne of a god because they don't exist. Your people leave that
meaning up to such interpretation. Any faceless thing could take the form of a god.
Then he says that they can stop it because Vinny is the key to it all. All he needs is a little guidance, a little direction. He says the North Star is key. So Vinny's on board, even though 5 seconds earlier he's like, I don't want to work with you, I'm done with you. Vinny doesn't have a lot of morals at this point. At this point, you know, he's like letting people die and then like being like, wait, that was a bad idea. I wasn't a fan of that.
He keeps doing it.
But then he keeps doing it. Vinny is on board and he has to leave. It has like, not yet, because he hasn't shown us, the viewer, something. Habits torture for the sake of torture. Vinny asks him not to show this clip. It takes place right after the events of the Blue Room. So Vinny leaves the Blue Room and now he's back in the basement. He finds a note on the table that says there's only one way out, with a gun on it. The same one from the Blue Room. Now it's mysteriously left his hand. Now it's on the table. Vinny puts the camera down, walks off screen with the gun, yells into the air at Habit. He asks if this is what he wanted to do, watch him suffer and die. He says that Habit's right because death is the only way out, because he's not going to make it out of this basement. Habit took everything from him. He says that heaven or hell would be better than this. Then we can hear the gun go off screen. But this all, like I said before, takes place before the events of the making of this video. It was in a voiceover. And Vinny's like, don't show that clip, which means that
he's still alive.
He's still alive. So how is that possible?
Merry Christmas, hybrids.
Vinny wishes us all a Merry Christmas because he's forced to make this video by habit because they always make a video on Christmas. He knows the video that was just uploaded and he can't explain it either. He can almost remember it all happening. He remembers getting trapped in the apartment. He remembers the gun going off, but he can't bring himself to describe the fact that that happened and also he's still here now. He says a habit keeps stopping by where he is now, telling him to be ready. He also keeps giving and taking away internet access, but Vinny knows that something's happening outside in the world. Fans keep getting things in the mail, and he advises them not to help. He has no idea what Habit wants him to do, and he says that now he can see all the hidden videos. Now we get into an interesting thing, because somebody got a bunch of tapes in the mail from Habit. Physical tapes, like cassette tapes, 2018. Now we skip all the way to February 25th, 2018. These tapes are called the Princeton tapes. These tapes are from the 1990s, recorded by someone who sounds exactly like Vinny and is also named Vinny, chronicling their life in Princeton, New Jersey. The person who received these tapes in the mail added their own text message saying that they received these tapes after contacting a man named William Davison 8 months prior. He's not sure if Vinny wants him to upload these messages, but he's going to anyways because he thinks it's a way to help Vinny. And he says, Habit, if you're reading this, fuck you. There are 33 tapes in total, so this is them in hopefully the shortest amount of time that I can explain this, because I don't want this video to be 6 hours long. So, Princeton Vinny, or referring to him as Princeton Vinny to not get him confused. Princeton Vinny introduces himself. He's got an audio recorder for Christmas as a way to record messages for his grandmother. Vinny says he's moved into Princeton recently with his friends Evan and Jeff, who also live there. The tape takes place much later in the year. It's from August, as Vinny says. He lost the recorder, but then he found it again. He says they'll be using it, even though he can talk to his grandparents on the phone now. He says they talked about it in his group, referring to a sort of substance abuse anonymous group that he's a part of. He says that he will use this as a emotional journal for himself. Seems like Vinny is struggling with withdrawal of some sort. He's very sick and he can't eat. He says that whenever he wakes up, he sees him. He says that he needs to surround himself with more friends, but all the friends that he has are from his group. Vinny is driving home really late at night and he's frantically recording this message. He says something the size of a dog is following his car. He says that he's probably just hallucinating because he's paranoid, and then describes what he's seeing. It's gray with no fur, only skin, running around on all fours, and it's the rake. So
that could just be like a Sholo dog.
I'll just be referring to it as the rake from this point forwards. It seems like things are going really well for Vinny. He's made some more friends. He's going back to school. He's going to a doctor. He talks about the night before where he decided to take a drive through Harborland near Princeton. It was dark. There was fog covering everything. He saw it again. The rake was running at the same pace with the car through the woods. He couldn't see his face, but he was sure that they were making eye contact the entire time. Vinny is in a coffee shop recording this message. He said he was walking down the street and a girl handing out pamphlets for some sort of paranormal newspaper was on the street. He took one and he says that everything in the pamphlet was super duper fake and edited. But he read at the end there was a true crime section, an article about a town in Pennsylvania. On one of the pages is a photo of a boy who looked exactly like Vinny when he was younger. He said that this child, who was also named Vinny, was abused by a creepy pastor who was then murdered, and nobody knows what happened. He said he would remember this happening if it were him, and Vinny thinks this is some sort of weird prank. They're pulling on him, and he's gonna go find this girl again and ask her about it. Vinny finds the girl. He shows her the pamphlet that she gave him. She says that they're all cryptozoologists and UFO hunters. He asks about the boy in the photo, and she says that she doesn't know. He gives the card for the newspaper to Vinny. He found another person giving out the pamphlets, and he asks about the kid Vinny in the photo. The guy said, "Oh, with the killer pediatrician," and Vinny's like, "What do you mean by that?" He says there's a theory that the guy that adopted that boy after the death of the pastor killed a couple other children and him years later, a man named James Cornthal. Vinny says that he's definitely heard that name before. Vinny is asleep at night, and then he gets a visit from the rake. This time the rake talks to him. He asks if it's that thing that's watching him. The rake says that they have an agreement between the two of them, him and Slenderman, that he gets to watch over Prince and Vinny, and that it's not going to kill him. When he asks why, it says that because of an old agreement. The rake is very old, and for some reason this agreement is very good for him. The rake says that Vinny is not his to take, and that he's tainted and marked, so he can't get him. The rake says that he'll come back periodically, and then disappears into Vinny's closet. Vinny couldn't sleep. He's thinking about the pamphlet girl and the kid version of Vinny, and then he decides to put on the TV where it's playing an episode of Unsolved Mysteries about this kid Vinny. He says that he's going to find that girl again and ask her some more questions. Vinny goes to the library to find more information about Dr. Cornthal. He finds out that he worked at the Fairmount Children's Home in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. He adopted a kid named Vinny and 3 other adopted children. Then it seems like all of them seem to be killed by the doctor, and then he started traveling around the country. He looked in a phone book and found the number for his lawyer's office in Princeton, blocks away from where he currently is. Cut to Vinny now at the lawyer's office. He's asking the receptionist if he could talk to Mr. Davidson, Dr. Cornthal's lawyer. The receptionist says that he isn't here. Suddenly, an alarm goes off, and he has to leave the building. Vinny's now sitting in his car across from the law office. As he was talking to the receptionist, a fire just randomly started to creep out from the files behind her. That's what set off the alarm. He starts driving, and as he's driving, he sees the rake in the middle of the road. He swerves around it, almost hitting it, and he knows now that it's looking for him. Vinny gets a call on his phone. We can only hear Vinny's end of the conversation. He said that it was the lawyer, Mr. Davidson. He knew that they were looking for him. He tried helping the best he could. He says that Dr. Cornthal is still speaking all over the country and that he's actually not a bad guy. People are wrong about him. He also says it all has to do with the tall man. Another one-sided phone call with Vinny. He calls the Fairmount Children's Home, and he lies to whoever he's talking to, that he's saying that he's a student from a high school that's doing a report and needs information for it, so that's why he's calling them. He says that he can ask his parents when they can schedule an in-person meeting. The person he's talking to is the person he's going to have the meeting with, whose name is Dr. Peters. Vinny hangs up the phone and says that he's going to go to Ohio. Vinny is packing up his stuff to go to Ohio when the phone calls from the law office. He tells them to tell Mr. Davidson that something came up and they can't meet. He hangs up the phone. He's very frantic. He thinks that they can get something out of going to this children's home, and he's going to leave his contact information and instructions on the tape recorder just in case something happened to him. And then finally, Vinny arrives at the Fairmount Children's Home. He enters the office of Dr. Peters and sits down with him. Vinny says that he's writing his report about this new wing at the hospital. He asks more about the children's ward, and they start talking about Dr. Cornthal, and Dr. Peters asks if that's why he came here. Vinny tries to answer, but he seems to have difficulty doing so. He then begins to choke on air and then falls to the floor. Dr. Peters calls for a nurse. The nurse remarks that there's something coming out of his eyes. A medic pronounces Vinny dead from a seizure. Dr. Peters then points to the goo coming out of his eyes, saying that he must have ingested something and thrown it back up. He's not entirely sure, though. The nurse picks up the recorder and asks what they should do with it. She reads a note that's left on it and says, "Return to William Davidson," and the tape stopped there.
When you fail, when you die, I want them to see it crystal clear.
Vinny has found and listened to all of the Princeton tapes because they were uploaded online. Vinny walks into a room where Habit is watching television and tells him that he's leaving. Habit doesn't respond. Habit says that they had a deal and a plan, and Vinny's going to mess it all up by leaving. Vinny said that he's been doing nothing but sit and wait while doing nothing. The tape said answers, and Vinny wants to follow up on this lead. Habit gets up from his seat and then attacks Vinny. Vinny says that Habit can come with him if he wants because it's going to help the both of them, and Habit says he can't come because there's already a formula in place, and Vinny leaving is messing all that up, just like he's messed up everything already. So now Habit's decided he's going to let Vinny leave and go on his own adventure because he can't mess up more than he already has. Habit gives him a bunch of stuff and he needs to survive for a while, and Habit's sure that Vinny's going to die out there because he's nothing without him, and then Vinny leaves and drives off. Vinny is driving to Fairmount. He's upset with the viewers because they all posted the Princeton tapes all over the internet when they explicitly said not to do that. He says that he didn't know any better. That could have been him, but it wasn't him because he didn't record it, and it was way older than he was. He was on the way to find the Fairmount home that's mentioned in the tapes. One of the things that he brought in was a digital recorder that he downloaded the entirety of the Princeton tapes onto. He says that he's sorry for everyone that he brought into this because of EverymanHYBRID and stuff that they can't control. As Vinny's driving, the seasons seem to change in the background, like it goes from summer to winter to spring, which doesn't happen when you're driving from New Jersey to Ohio. As he's driving, he sees Jeff on the side of the road, and he asks Vinny if he's ready for his hike with Alex, and Vinny drives away. Stops on the side of the road to have a coughing fit. He tries to rest and sleep, some lights come on towards him, and suddenly he's in some random plains area. He then hears a knocking sound from behind him and starts running down a path. As he's walking, he sees Jeff and he's hurt. He's telling him to come follow him because he and Alex really need medical attention and they're both hurt. He yells at Jeff that he's dead and then runs away. And then Jeff said, "You could have saved us." Then he's at a river near a cell tower. Then he starts walking down a path and he finds his car. Then we see Habit back at the apartment. He's listening to what sounds like Vinny. He's listening to the Princeton tapes. On the Princeton tapes, it doesn't sound like what we heard though, because in this Princeton tapes, it sounds like Vinny is yelling out to someone to help him, being attacked by something. Now, things might be getting really confusing.
Yeah.
Because now it seems like there's like 5 billion different people in the series. So now, to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to explain what is the widely considered theory as to what is going on with the multiple people stuff in Everyman Hybrid. It's called iteration theory. Going all the way back to the Candleverse video, the C Morse code video, where Jeff says, at least in this iteration, that's where the name comes from. And the basic idea is that it's not reincarnation per se, but these are all the same people. Vinny, Evan, Jeff, and Steph have all been living multiple versions of their own lives. So there's 2 different types of iterations. The first is a total iteration. So that's the Fairmount versus Princeton versus Everyman Hybrid ones, where it's like an entire big chunk of time. So they were children in the 70s. Once they died in the 70s, they suddenly are now young adults in the 90s. And then once they die in that iteration, then they're suddenly YouTubers in the 2010s. And this is backed up by the fact that we hear in the La Premiere Course video, the whole like, it's all been one house, everything in our life's been fake, they couldn't remember anything. And basically what happens is they just spawn in randomly at a certain age in a certain place, and they have all of these fabricated memories to make them think that they're real people, but they're not. Slenderman and Habit and the Rake are just doing this to torture them at this point, mostly Habit. He thinks it's really funny to just like torture these people, make them go through these awful things. But that's a total iteration, so it's like entire things of time. But then there's sub-iterations where it's kind of like a rewind. So one major example of this is that way earlier on in the series, we see in some of the hidden videos, Jeff taking a whole bottle of pills and passing out on the floor dead. Obviously, Jeff didn't die at that point. Jeff died in the attic with Habit. So what happens is his Habit goes, "That was really funny, do it again." And he just resets them back to an earlier point in the same iteration for them to go on a different path.
Is that why they keep repeating that one video?
Yes, that's why there's the different versions of a day in a life, because they're kind of just repeating the same events over and over again. So there's one continuous timeline of like branches that branch out all the way to the point that where we're at, but all the other options that they could have had also existed at one point, but Habit was just like, go back, do it again. So then also on top of that, there has to be a discussion about the dual universe. That was also mentioned in the House of Leaf quotes at the very beginning of the series. The why did God create a dual universe? As if to say, be not like me, I'm alone and I might be heard. So there's the Candleverse. So basically, it's very strange. What happens is, it's kind of like a video game. So once they die for real, like the major iteration is done, they get sent to the Candleverse. That's the universe of the monsters, where Slenderman comes from, that's where Habit comes from. And that's where they are in this Candleverse. And they kind of wait there until all of them get back and all of them die. And then they all get sent out together into the next iteration. So that's why they were like waiting on Steph in the Candleverse video, where they're like, she's going to be here soon. So in that iteration that we were seeing, Steph was still alive. So they were just waiting for her to come back. You can go in and out of the dual universe. Obviously, Dr. Kornthal was there. He pulled Vinny through a doorway into the Garden of the Monster Sanctuary. That was in the dual universe. So it's kind of like a respawn point. So once everyone dies, you can go back. But then they also lose all their memories, and they have to go through it all again, not knowing what happened. That's a really terrible explanation. But all you really need to know is that there are multiple versions of the same person that have existed through time, and Habit's just basically doing everything to mess with them because he's evil.
What the fuck was that?
Current iteration Vinny has finally arrived at the Fairmount Children's Home. This place is old and abandoned. It's overrun with trees. Everyman Hybrid Vinny goes to where the child's word was, decides to walk inside. He says he's never been here, but it feels like that he's home. He isn't sure what he needs to find, but he's going to find it at one point. The tapes play, and it's a new tape that we haven't heard before. The doctor, Dr. Peters in the tape, attacks Vinny, and he says that the doctor was like bleeding from everywhere in his face. We then see a clip from when the hospital wasn't abandoned, presumably from when this Princeton iteration was taking place and people were like actually working there and living there. Back in Everyman Hybrid iteration, Vinny's lost. He's moving into a different building in the main campus, but something isn't right. There's a tunnel with no light at the end of it, an abyss, but Vinny's like, I'm not going down there, and he turns around. There's one smart move that he's ever made. The tapes start up again. We hear another clip of Prince and Vinny walking through the hospital. It's completely empty and he can't find anyone. In Everyman Hybrid iteration Vinny, as he keeps walking, he can hear Jeff and Evan talking in the background. This is what's called a bleed through. Now he's in a place where like all the iterations are kind of overlapping with each other because the Everyman Hybrid Vinny is there currently. Prince and Vinny went there and the Fairmount iteration kids lived there. So now they're in this like temporal like black hole where all of this stuff is happening at once. So he's seeing and hearing things from other iterations, both major iterations and sub-iterations, while he's still living. So he's hearing Jeff and Evan, who are obviously not there with him right now. Jeff is telling Evan to fight it, Habit, and that he's not going to leave Evan here. Evan tells Jeff to leave because nothing's going to stop him from attacking Jeff and killing him if he stays, but he wants Jeff to be safe if Habit takes over. And he pushes Jeff as if he's starting to get taken over by Habit. Vinny just straight up walks through them. Back on the tapes that he's listening to, Princeton iteration Doctor is talking over an intercom and he's repeating a poem over and over about angels. Everyman Hybrid Vinny is walking towards something in the distance. In the recording, Princeton Vinny says that he found a weird lockbox, and Everyman Hybrid Vinny decides that that's where this North Star thing that he has to find is, that Habit was talking about. He finds the lockbox, figures out how to open it. Inside of it were a bunch of drawings of a map with symbols all over it. That was this map to find the North Star. He stops and sits for a bit, but then keeps moving. He's starting to figure out what's going on. The noises he can hear are telling him when something is following, getting closer, because all the iterations are overlapping and it's like getting more and more intense. Slenderman appears right in front of him. Vinny runs away out of the building and sirens blare in the background. He goes into a dead end, turns around. He finds another iteration of himself, Evan, and Jeff as he's walking, but he shuts the door on them. He realizes now he's back in the other building. He's still looking for this office where the North Star is going to be. He goes into another building, the noises start again. He then finds the symbol from the paper written on the walls. So he's found the North Star. So now he knows what the symbol looks like. The Princeton Vinny on the tape seems to be dying now. He's calling out for help just like before. Present day, Everyman Hybrid Vinny is now in the exact spot where the Princeton Vinny was killed by Dr. Peters. Everyman Hybrid iteration Vinny says that he's not going to die here and that he's going to get out.
Well, I'm imagining it like he's just remembering everything that happened.
He's
it's
like
not actively
seeing it.
happening. Like he's like hallucinating it.
Like he's physically there.
So then why didn't he help anybody?
Those also didn't happen. That was supposed to happen at that time, but they weren't happening. That's like a different pathway. Like if Evan and Jeff still survived, that would have happened. If only Jeff and Evan had survived, that would have happened, and he just saw it. But it would be in the place that he is right now.
But it doesn't like change any of the paths.
No, it doesn't change any of the past because that technically never happened. That timeline technically didn't happen, but it did.
They're trying to become famous. According to the sign inside, they want Guy Fieri to give them a call.
Vinny's still in the hospital, but it doesn't look like a hospital anymore. There's just graffiti all over the place. He walks around. Suddenly, there's a clip of Jeff, who's outside and chasing someone near the cell towers that we see in the Drive West. Vinny makes it out of the hospital, and he hears a car horn beeping in the distance, walking towards it. Then we see Habit, who is sitting on the side of the road. He's walking around somewhere. He goes to a park. He goes to the place where the first trash bags were hanging from the trees in the Jokes Over video. We can see Habit looking for something in Jeff's house. It's the shotgun shell that Alex buried for his first Trial of Habit video. He's then standing in front of the shed in Jeff's backyard with an axe. His face is splattered with blood. The cameraman thing is filming him. He asks if it's for him, asking if Dr. Kornthal sent it. And he talks about the viewers who are watching this video, saying that one day they will all be dust, and he'll still be here in this place. More of them changing and living. That's all Slenderman wants, is more people. And Habit gets to hunt them and kill them and torture them, but it's all the same. It's the same every single time. But they, the four, are not. They've evolved over time through each iteration. Habit says that his body, Evan's body, that he inhabits is now indestructible and unstoppable. He smirks at this, but then stares blankly into the camera. He says that it's his turn to change. He'll get what he wants, and maybe it'll change this time. We see Jeff running again near this cell tower with another person, but we can't see who it is. They say that they're running out of time to do something. We then see Dr. Kornthal, and he finds Evan, and they're also in the dual universe. They're in the Candleverse. They're in the Monster Sanctuary, like, garden thing that we saw before. Dr. Kornthal talks to one of the cameraman things, which we still can't see, and he seems to be very friendly with it. And he tells them that he has to go to the cell tower with Evan and to take Jeff with him. Evan is the other person that we see with Jeff running. Evan is also still in handcuffs. in the Candleverse. Cuts back to him and Jeff running, and they're at the cell tower now. Vinny's very near where they are, but in the real universe. So the dual universe looks exactly like our universe, but it's like a parallel universe thing. So they're both running towards the same spot, but in 2 different universes. Jeff and Evan send out a signal through the cell tower that says, please stop watching us. We then see Vinny driving away in our universe. Evan and Jeff run away because the place will soon be overrun with monsters because it's getting dark. Every 3 days they get a chance to send a signal. Back with Vinny in our universe, he went back to Habit's apartment, but it's empty. Habit wasn't there. That's because Habit's now back at Jeff's house and he's making this video. Vinny says it's all been very quiet for him. It's like the symbols that he has are protecting him. Back with Evan and Jeff in the parallel universe, they say they have to make the connection again. They only have 5 minutes or else Habit will get what he wants and win. Back with Habit, he gets up, starts running towards something. When we see Vinny again, he gets a text from an unknown number that has some coordinates and says, if you're alive, come here.
Well, that's...
Vinny drives to the coordinates that Habit sent him. A small cabin in the middle of the woods. Habit's waiting there. He brought the notebook with him, as well as the papers that he found in the hospital. Habit is standing on the porch with a scattergun waiting for Vinny. Vinny asks Habit what their next move is. He's like, I got this stuff. And Habit says, the next move is that Vinny's gonna die. Vinny doesn't believe him, but Habit says that he was supposed to find something for him, the North Star, and he left before they had enough of a lead to go on. And Vinny said, yeah, actually, I did find it. And he knows that this is the real one because another iteration of him made it. Habit stops when he says this, and he's like, prove it. He gives him the notebook. Vinny takes the gun away from him. Habit smiles and says that the 2 of them are going to have a lot of fun and they need to go inside and prepare. We then see in the dual universe Dr. Corenthal. He's walking trying to find something, but it isn't there. He says the thing that they were looking for has shifted. He takes out a phone and then he calls Vinny. So Dr. Corenthal is in the other universe, calls Vinny in the real universe. Then we see Habit in the cabin reading a book. Vinny comes out of the bathroom with his head shaved for some reason. Vinny asks Habit what's holding the camera, and Habit's like, don't worry about it. Then Vinny's phone rings. It's Dr. Corenthal in another universe calling him, and he has a very important message to stop what he's doing, because Vinny's basically building a bomb. Vinny says no, he has to keep doing this because this is how they stop Slenderman. Dr. Corenthal says that what he's going to do is going to wipe out literally everything, and Vinny says he can't reset this and then hangs up the phone. We see Habit back inside looking for something, his knife. Vinny asks where he is, and it's the Corenthal's cabin, but something's wrong with it. The hallways are all weird, you can get lost, staircases are where they shouldn't be, hallways go to nowhere. Habit says the building is sick, it's in a state of flux, and that things are going to get a lot more weird, and Vinny isn't supposed to go anywhere alone, especially not outside. Vinny sees a photo reel, it's on the fridge, he asks how that exists and disclosure of him from an event that never happened. Habit says that his entire life is a lie, and he's like, I know that already. Habit says that these photos are proof of the lie, that the lie was already set in motion, but what Vinny has done has diverged from said lie, but the universe keeps putting out fake memories and fake items to prove the existence of the lie.
So it's like trying to correct it, like to keep it...
like basically what should have happened in Vinny's life is still going on, but that isn't what happened, so the universe is still doing stuff anyways. Habit says that the stuff like that is the life that he could have had. He can still have all that if everything goes according to plan. Habit says that Vinny needs to learn how to shoot, and then they have a little training montage about teaching Vinny how to shoot a gun. Vinny asks whether they need a normal gun or a knife for to kill a god. Now Habit has a branding thing in his hand, and it has the North Star symbol on the end of it that Vinny got from the notebook. Habit says that Vinny is going to brand the knife and the gun with the symbol. Now they're outside and it's nighttime. Habit explains how the symbol works. It says it needs 2 things, fire and suffering. Vinny must bring the suffering. He has to focus. Nothing in the universe, nothing alive wants Vinny to do what he's going to do, but it has to happen. They have a god to kill. When Vinny does this, he has to think of everything that ever happened to the people, the monsters that have taken them from him, the horrors that he's seen in the years in isolation and confinement.
All the loved ones that you've lost, and all the loved ones that you never had a chance to meet. What was your grandfather's name, Vinny? Did you ever have one?
Vinny takes the symbol and puts it into the fire and brands the knife with it. He then focuses all his hate and suffering into branding the knife and also the gun. Back inside, Habit goes over what the symbol does. Vinny's unsure of what the plan is for tomorrow. Habit says that they are in a shifting and nonsensical world. The only plan he has is that tomorrow, that which cannot die will be dead. And the knife and the gun will help. The symbol, it means pain and lethality. It can bring death to unkillable things. Basically, putting the symbol on the weapons makes the weapons able to kill something that is unkillable.
But why is he helping him?
Well, you'll see.
I thought...
He's not explained why he's doing any of this. He's just like, you gotta do this for me. And Vinny's like, okay.
But Habit was working with Slenderman. I assumed he was kind of... They're
Yeah, but Habit's like, I want things to be different. But why is he helping Vinny is the question, which will be answered soon. He also says, if it can do that to a god, it can do much worse to a person, so don't touch anything. Now, the final part of the series that isn't on YouTube is they found Box 7. So Box 7 was a gift to Rabbit061 for winning the 7 Trials of Habit. It was sent in the mail by Habit. It was a briefcase containing an answering machine, a lockbox, a stuffed animal, purple thread, an envelope, and a pocket knife. The pocket knife was used to open the stuffed animal rabbit, which was sewn shut. Inside the rabbit was the key that opened the lockbox. Inside the envelope was a couple of Polaroids of Dr. Kornthal with a bunch of years on them. Also in the envelope is a detailed part of the article about the Minetown Forest saying that the orphan children had reached safety. An article was written by a man named Roger, who was the editor of the Cryptozoology and Paranormal magazine at Princeton University in the 1990s, which Princeton Vinny has a bit of experience with. There are also 2 tapes loaded into the answering machine. The first is House Phone 2005, which is just the answering machine for the Cornwall house. The other tape, tape 3, seems to be a continuation of the Princeton tapes. This is like a second iteration of Princeton Vinny, so this is like a sub-iteration of Princeton. It picks up where he's having the weird dreams about the rake, but nothing past that. There are a lot of these tapes, just like they did with the other one. I'm going to skip the ones that are unimportant to get through this. Vinny says that he's left the tape recorder at home, and he's driving from his group when he sees the rake again, and the sky is pitch black, and all of a sudden there's a hovering light so bright that it was daytime. It was moving, and Vinny got distracted looking at it and almost hit an ambulance. He swerves off into a ditch. Now the light is gone. Something weird is going on. Vinny keeps having dreams about Slender Man. He says that he doesn't know if he can't just remember his face or if he doesn't have one at all. He always wakes up feeling weird afterwards. Vinny has been doing some research of his own. He wants to take a trip to some towns on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania where some paranormal stuff went down. It seems like people there have accepted what the stuff is. He wants to go there and ask about the rake and the weird light that he saw. Later, he's in one of those towns, Lambertville. No one there seems to be helpful, so he's sitting in a coffee shop by himself. It feels like he's back to square one. Then a man comes up to Vinny saying that he overheard him mentioning UFOs. He introduces himself as Roger, the head of a paranormal magazine at Princeton University. He asks Vinny if something happened recently. Vinny tells him about the light he saw. Roger asks him about a bunch of technical questions about how the light looked, and Vinny's like, I can't remember. Roger says that maybe it's some military testing thing, and then he gives him his phone number and the newspaper's phone number in case he has any other questions. Vinny talks to Roger, talks to him about the rake, then Roger starts asking him more questions about it because he thinks it might be the Jersey Devil, but as he keeps talking, it sounds less and less like the Jersey Devil and more like something else. Vinny disregards this and asks more about the Jersey Devil. They say that they should take a trip down together to the Pine Barrens, which is where it resides mostly. Vinny says that he keeps having dreams about a tower that's close by on a lake, and every time they drive past this place, he gives him a headache. Roger leaves Vinny a voicemail. He tells Vinny to meet him at an abandoned high school that night to take a picture of the lights. Later that day, Vinny meets up with Roger at the school. He asks how they're going to record the lights if they didn't bring any recording equipment, and Roger says that the people will mock them and say that they faked the video anyways, so what's the point? Vinny asks why they're risking getting arrested for being here if they're not going to record it, and Roger says that they need to focus on gathering evidence first. They get up to the roof of the school. They start talking about ghost stories, and then Roger mentions someone named Linny, and Vinny asks who that is. Roger says that she's the assistant editor for the magazine, and she goes stargazing here all the time. She says that her specialty is something called blind spots. Places that are normal, but something just feels a little bit off and not quite right. Lenny thinks that the school is a blind spot. Cut to a couple minutes later, Vinny points at something in the sky. It's the lights that he saw. They both are like, yeah, we did it, we saw the lights. Vinny has another dream about the tower. He gets really close to it and everything starts shaking. He goes inside the tower. There's nothing in there besides white walls and an old rotary phone on a table. He says that it felt really real, but there wasn't as scary as any of the other dreams. Vinny says that he's had another one of those dreams, but he isn't sure if they're dreams at this point. He dreamt that he was somewhere, grabbed a bunch of papers from the side, and then ran home barefoot. And he woke up and his feet were all covered in mud and grass, and there's a trail from his doorway to his bed of mud and dirt. He thought that he sleptwalked. He finds an envelope, and it was the stories that it covers from issues of Roger's magazine. The title being Story About Vin. Vinny says that he thinks that the man that he's seeing in his dreams is real and is trying to reach out to him. He doesn't understand it. He thinks that they need to find Roger and tell him not to touch the story. He says that whatever the monster wants, he's not going to get it, and Roger isn't going to get the story. Vinny says that he doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, and everyone knows he tries to exploit him. He says that he isn't in control, and he hasn't been in control for a very long time. He's certain that these dreams are real, and somebody else has been moving his body in his sleep, someone that isn't him. Vinny wakes up in the middle of the night to someone calling him, but stops and leaves a message instead. He asks Vinny to pick up the phone. He says that he already wants to talk to him, and he knows the tower and the dreams. He's pleading for Vinny to talk to him. The answering tone beeps. Vinny says that he's going to visit the tower tomorrow and get answers. Inside the tower, everything is the same, except for there's another table. The phone on the tiny table in the center is ringing, and Vinny picks up. It's Patrick. So Patrick is the guy from ML Anderson that Sean was trying to find, his brother. So he asks if Vinny's there, and he says he doesn't have to respond, he just needs to tell him something. He says he sees what Vinny's been doing, and he likes his motivation. He says he knows that Vinny's looking for a way out. He says that people are going to tell him to do a million different things, and he knows that there's only one route that leads to the same thing every single time. There is no way out. Vinny is a cog in the machines, and the monsters seem to take a liking to him. Patrick says that the other one told him that he had a sister, but that was another Vinny in another time. Vinny will have, has, and had siblings, but he's still going to mess up every single time, and all of them will die. Each iteration of Vinny will have the same ending. Patrick mentions that he remembers everything from each of his iterations, and he's jealous that Vinny gets to forget. He asks Vinny if he misses his friends, but he doesn't wait for Vinny to respond. He says that they both know Vinny will see them soon, and they will be different and he will be different, but he won't remember it. Patrick says that that's all they can give him. He says that there's someone else that is doing something very similar to Vinny, but they're both going to lose, but he admires them trying. He says that eventually someone is going to break this machine, but each iteration's cycle shifted a bit more each time. You win a little more each time, but you still lose in the end. But maybe eventually they'll all be done with this, or slow it down, or undo it altogether. Patrick says that the person that he thinks that will finally do it is Dr. Kornthal. Patrick says that he's about done though. He says that the only reason that he reached out was to push him a little further and tell him that he's doing well. The call ends. Final tape, Vinny's reaction to the call. He doesn't understand how Patrick knew exactly what was going on or how he felt. He says he knew there was something wrong. Vinny, they were investigating the Vinny at the Paramount home, were all connected. He said that if this was true, it meant that he was someone else's pawn. He says that at least he stopped Roger from releasing the article. He looks at the table on his left, and one that he didn't see in a dream. There's a basket, and it is filled with pills with a note attached to it. It says, "The gift of knowledge is one that he'll want to take back. Do us all a favor." Then he says that he's right. The only way to protect others and himself from Slender Man is to end his own life by taking these pills. He says that it looks like he's signing off, and the tape ends there.
Can we go over the fucking plan again, real quick?
Yes, I would love to.
In the current iteration, Habit gets Vinny ready for the fight. Vinny's very confused because Habit says this is supposed to be a long journey, but they are literally standing 3 feet away from the outside of the house. Habit says that this is where the journey starts, where everything changes. He takes the knife from Vinny and throws it into the woods. He then says that the journey starts here because Dr. Kornthal built the cabin here for a reason. The woods are old and sacred, so Slenderman roams around here a lot. They also need to be very quiet because then Slenderman will get to them and Habit has no protection here. He also takes Vinny's glasses and gives them to the cameraman thing. Vinny asks, he's like, "Why did you give me a gun if I can't see?" And Habit says, that's because Evan is a really close fighter, so you just need it's a scatter gun, and he's gone, just got to get really close up. Then he says, "What's the plan again?" And Habit laughs and said, "The plan is that Vinny is going to kill Evan for him. Even though Evan is going to want to kill him first, even though Evan can't die. That's why they needed the God Killer gun and the knife." Habit says that when Evan is dead, Vinny will finally rest and die. No more iterations for him, and then Habit will get to have his fun. Vinny says he won't do it, and then he's going to kill Habit instead, putting the God Killer gun against Habit's back. But at this point, Habit has now vacated Evan's body, and now it's Evan again. Vinny realizes this and tries to talk to Evan, but it's too late. Evan grabs the scatter gun from Vinny and hits him in the head. Vinny's confused, the two of them begin to fight. Evan says that it was Vinny, and Habit showed him what happened, what he did. Vinny tells him to stop because Habit needs them both to die for his insane plan to work, but Evan doesn't listen. He says that Habit showed him what actually happened, and that it was Vinny who put the security cameras in their houses. It cuts to a clip from the hidden cameras and emails video of Vinny watching one of the cameras from a time previous to them finding them. Back in the fight, Vinny's hurt crawling around on the ground. Evan kicks him. He says that Vinny killed all of them and that it's his fault. He calls for the camera thing to come over and film this. He asks Vinny how it feels to be filmed by monsters as he dies, and he calls him voyeuristic. He also asks if Vinny wants to explain what happened to Alex, what really happened. Then the clip cuts to unseen footage from the video Consensus. So remember, Consensus was the video that they all agreed on showing about what happened to Alex when they went to try to go to Jess's funeral. But this is some cut footage that we haven't seen before.
He told me about Evan for the longest time. He says that he's not good. And he started telling me more things about you, and he said something about the good one dying, but he says I should stay away from you and Evan. He says you guys are bad, like really bad.
I wouldn't listen to him.
Everything he's been saying has been coming true though.
He's lying to you, Al.
This is implying that Vinny killed Alex. Back in the fight, Evan says that he doesn't want to do this either, but he has to do it for what Vinny did. He can't die. Evan goes over to Vinny, grabs his leg, and breaks it. Evan tells the camera thing to get away from them. Vinny tells Evan to stop. Evan tells Vinny that it will all be over soon. Vinny tells him that they can kill Habit and end all of this. Evan says that he can forgive Vinny for everything they did, but he just has to kill him first. He says that at least through all of this, I'll kill at least one monster before I go. Vinny is on the ground, and Evan grabs him with his right arm. Vinny stabs Evan with a knife using his left hand. Evan forgot that he was left-handed. Call back to the self-defense video where he forgets that Vinny was left-handed and bests him in a knife fight from 8 years ago. Vinny responds to Evan calling him a monster with confusion. Evan's not doing good. He's coughing up blood on the ground. He's in terrible pain since he just got stabbed by the God Killer knife. Vinny asks how he's the monster, asking Evan if he knew what he did to him, his friends, his own child, even though that wasn't Evan, that was Habit. He didn't want to do any of that. Evan can't really hear him though because he's too busy, coughing and bleeding out. The footage cuts to the D smiley face video with Habit talking to Jeff. In the back of the fight, Vinny isn't listening, he's still talking. He continues to place all the blame on Evan. Vinny says that he was the one who tried to save Jeff and Alex. Vinny still has the scattergun, shoots Evan in the chest, who flies backwards. He says that it didn't have to be like this, but Evan has still not given up yet. He grabs the knife and tells Vinny to come closer, throws the God Killer knife at him, but misses just slightly, hitting him in the neck. Vinny laughs it off, but then Evan tells him to wait a second. Then the pain kicks in. Vinny asks what he did to him, but Evan doesn't respond. Evan is dead. Vinny uses the last of his strength to move over to sit next to Evan at the tree where he is, still on that whole monster thing, being like, I'm not a monster, I'm not a monster, I'm not a monster. He tells Evan that they're not dying here. He says that he doesn't really know if they are monsters or they're just unlucky. He tells Evan that he's sorry, and then he stops moving, and Vinny dies as well.
We don't need it.
Now, there's one more video. We see Dr. Corenthal walking to the tree at the top of Baldpate Mountain in the dual universe. We then see Dr. Corenthal with Jeff and Evan walk up to Vinny, who's sitting under the tree. His hand is over his neck where he got stabbed by the God Killer knife. Evan doesn't have his handcuffs on anymore. Dr. Corenthal gives him a hug. Vinny tells Dr. Corenthal that he messed up, and Dr. Corenthal responds that he just did what he thought was right. Someone off screen asks Vinny what he's going to do with the camera, and Vinny says that they don't need it anymore. He puts the camera down, and we see all four of them walk off into the forest. The song We'll Meet Again by Johnny Cash plays in the background. The video ends. Now, at this point, we have now filled in the roles for the Everyman play. Who do you think was the Voyeur, the Firebrand, and the Guardian?
So, you said the Voyeur was Vinny, I guess, because you called him the Voyeur, right?
So, the Voyeur was Vinny. Who was the Firebrand?
The Firebrand, probably Evan, and then the Guardian was Jeff.
Wrong.
Wrong?
Wrong. Habit lied. From the actual text, you can figure out what it was. From the actual lines itself, the only one you got right, Evan, was obviously the Firebrand.
Yeah.
The Firebrand shall disregard obvious danger and assume the role of force, because he's the one with the knives that runs into danger all the time. The Firebrand shall lead an offense as he might, only just succumb to the war within, have it taking over. The Firebrand shall deflect and self-immolate, no longer defining the two within. He says that he doesn't know where habit begins and he ends anymore. Like, he doesn't know what's going on anymore. So that one was obviously Evan. However, Jeff was the Guardian. The lines for the Guardian say, the Guardian shall lose his heart, then his blood, and fight to lose all that he loves. The loss of his heart is Jessa, his girlfriend, but the loss of his blood is his brother Alex.
That's cute.
And then he fights to lose all that he loves, like the rest of the people in his life. And then the Guardian shall defy a god, only to be dealt a fatal blow. And it's Jeff's death at the hand of habit. Then Vinny would be the Voyeur. So, the lines for the Voyeur are, the Voyeur shall watch from an emotional distance, insisting on maintaining their strength. In the early parts of the series, Vinny's kind of like, guys, we should just, like, chill. Like, what's the big deal? Like, yeah, weird stuff's going on, but, like, that's not a big deal. Slenderman isn't real. You guys are crazy. We should just, like, he wasn't really doing a lot. It was mostly being led by Jeff and then by Evan, but then at the end when everyone else was gone by him.
He also never helps them.
Yeah.
Like, when he sees whoever, like, bleeding out and dying, he's like, bye. But, like, he just watches people die. Like, he doesn't ever do anything.
Then the next line, the Voyeur shall remain idle to all who see, however busy he may be beneath. He was making moves that we couldn't see. So, like, the whole thing with Alex is also implied that he was like, okay, Jeff, go over to Evan's house. I'm not going to come with you. Then Jeff dies at the hand of habit, and then he doesn't go to check on him, and then he just kind of leaves that alone for a while. That's also why they put in the clip of the smiley face video during the fight while Evan is calling him a monster, being like, you did this to all our friends, habit showed me. And also he, you know, kills Mark and kills Sean. Like, he doesn't physically kill them, but he is there and he's, like, complicit in it. So he has his own agenda because he doesn't want to die. He's doing all this stuff and he's letting the people get close to him, get drawn in by Slenderman. So he kind of pushes them forwards ahead of him in line to die. And then at the end, the Voyeur shall swallow Justice's sword is the death at the hands of the God Killer knife or sword. As for the rest of the lines, their world shall perish, their world shall burn. You two are on the same sinking vessel. First off, they mentioned the same sinking vessel in one of the unsigned tweets from Habit really early on in the series. At the end of All Good for Things, obviously Habit sought to end the world. Their world did end, or at least this iteration of it. And it's saying that we too are part of that iteration. We're going to keep going on, but they're going to move on to another iteration. So we're in their world that's burning. Their lives that's burning down for them to get put into another one. And then the great flood shall wash away all of the ash, renewing the world for another greater cycle. Is the cycle of iterations where, like, all of the stuff that happened in the past will be no more. There's going to be another version of Evan, another version of Jeff, another version of Vinny. You kind of guessed it earlier on what was going on. You're like, oh, I think they're reincarnations. Oh, there's multiple versions of them.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of got it, but I was like, we'll see about that. You were a little bit too good at guessing it.
Well, it just is like the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know. I always assume there's some weird reincarnations going on. It also kind of reminds me of The Good Place.
The Good Place.
Like, you know how...
I used to be scared of that show.
Oh my god. But you know how, like, in The Good Place, they keep resetting
Yeah, like, this is the bad place. That is kind of like that.
Yeah. It's super impressive to go from, like, just, I don't know, regular college students, whatever, and then making this thing for, like, 8 years or whatever. Like, also to have the foresight to, like, hint at something 8 years ago and then, like, bring it up again. Like, that's insane to me.
So now it's time for your pop quiz. Let's see if you were listening and paying attention. Who was Lexi?
Who was Lexi?
Yeah.
She was, like, someone's girlfriend?
Yes. Whose girlfriend, though?
Not Evan's girlfriend.
No.
Not Jeff's girlfriend.
No. Who's the one other character?
Vinny?
Yes.
Vinny's girlfriend.
Where do they live?
New Jersey.
They live in New Jersey.
Okay.
What do the Morse code videos spell?
Oh my god, it spells like chaos backwards.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So you were paying attention. Yay! I will force you to watch all of these later. Don't worry.
How many hours of footage?
It took me 2 days to watch the whole thing the first time.
At least it's not One Piece.
At least it's not One Piece. Alright, so I don't have anything else to say because I don't know how to end this video. If any of you guys want to watch the actual series, there's a YouTube compilation in the description. Also, link to the actual channel. I don't know how to point downwards. Link to the actual YouTube channel to go watch it. Come back next time because I won't be talking. I'll be listening, and you'll be explaining.
I have to decide what I'm going to talk about.
Something. Thanks for watching.
Bye. I don't know how to end stuff.
Me either. Let me just walk over to the...